Hey, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening, y'all? It's me coming back at you again with another live stream vid. Well, breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. First things first, I got this breaking news from my notification. Shout out to D-Style Boxing, who just put up the video just moments ago. So if you guys don't see on the title of, if you guys notice on the title of this live stream, it says here that Anthony Joshua will step aside to allow Fury and Usyk to go ahead and proceed with their undisputed clash. Now, is this actually true? All right, let's go and look at this to see where is the source of this information coming from. What's up, Boxing Lounge? So I'm going to share my screen momentarily right now, and we're going to go over this real quickly. While I do that, I'm also going to let you guys know that I'm also going to review the Gary Russell Jr. and the MAGSAYO fight, whatnot. So let's start with the breaking news first, okay? This has been reported by the Telegraph. I mean, not the Telegraph. I'm sorry, the Talk Sport. Which not. Let me see. Was it Talk Sport? No. It was, I think, the Telegraph that reported this. I think D-Style said that the Telegraph is the one that reporting this. Let me go ahead and see if I can find anything on the Telegraph. Give me 1 second. I'll bring this up. Yep, it was reported 1 hour ago by the Telegraph. I'm going to share this right here so you guys can see. All right. All right, so here we go. So according to the Telegraph, that's why you got to have a monthly subscription to see the story. But anyways, I'll give you the gist of it. Gary A. Davies is the one who wrote the story. Okay, now he writes, he contributes to the Telegraph. Of course, he's their boxing columnist, whatnot. According to him and his sources, Anthony Joshua will step aside. All right. Now, is this actually true? Now, we don't know for sure because we know sometimes Gary Davies can report things that are inaccurate. All right. So let me be fair there. However, the only way for this story to be truly knocked down is that Eddie Hearn or Anthony Joshua come out and dispute the claims that this is actually happening. Now, that is a strong possibility they will do that. But as of now, it stands as is. So it's been reported an hour ago by Gary Davies that Joshua will step aside. Let me see if I can bring it up on their Instagram page, I believe. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Give me 1 second, guys. 1 second. Instagram. Gonna bring it up. All right, let's see here. If I can find it on their post, or actually on Twitter. I'm sorry, it was reported on Twitter. Let me go back to Twitter. Telegraphed. Twitter. Okay, here we go. Let's bring it up right here. Nope, it's not here. Where are you? Where are you? Okay, here we go. Oh, let's look at the latest tweet about 1 hour ago. All right, so we can go ahead and bring down to that tweet. Come on. Let's bring it up. Yeah, where did that tweet go? Anyways, D Styles was able to bring it up. I think some people are going to start picking up on this soon. If you're going to ahead read the Telegraph, this is what Gary Davies is reporting as we speak. Again, if you are subscribed to the Telegraph, the full article is up right now. It's in length, is in detail, I should say. So Telegraph, let me just say the Telegraph Anthony Joshua. Let's type it in the search engine and see what results that we can get. So news. Yeah, here it is. So if you can see here, Joshua will accept the step aside money of $15 million fee. Is now open to accepting the deal step aside after the weekend. So now he's willing to accept the deal. So there's Gary Davis saying that he's willing to accept it. But then again, there is another contradictory statement here. That's why title in the article, is this really true? Because Gary Davies in the first line right here says that he's open to accept the deal after a weekend of protracting talks. So this is still kind of not quite concrete from my from my observation. Now, again, this is sometimes I feel that was a clickbait title that Gary Davis may put, but then again, it at the same time that does contradict what Joshua said about a few days ago, because he said to another outlet that he's not accepting except aside, he's going to fight Usyk, but then again, he's coming back and says I'm willing to accept the deal if the money is right. So we'll have to see if they're going to come out and debunk this. But if Gary Davis says this is true, then I don't know, man. I don't know. But if you ask me personally, I really believe Joshua says to step aside, not because I want the undisputed fight. We haven't had it in 2 decades at heavyweight, but I just think what it is that Joshua is not mentally ready. He's not really prepared for this fight. You can tell he's not. He doesn't have his training situation situated, sorted out, as you want to call it. It's been nearly 4.5 months now since the first fight took place, and we have yet to get a date or an announcement of that rematch. We have yet to get anything on that, so it seems like they're not even close to that yet. So I think I just think that he should step aside, man, and then he needs to regroup and restructure and get acclimated with the new trainer. If that's going to be the case, because we don't know for sure. I mean, I know there's been speculation that Robert McCracken has left the camp. That was supposed to be announced last week, and we haven't got the announcement yet. So I don't know, man. This is bizarre. This is bizarre. What's up, big boys? Juno, what's up, big boys? He said that even if Joshua had changed his, let me go ahead and stop my screen share real quickly. Here we go. Even if Joshua had changed the heart and willing to stand to step aside, the WBC has already ordered Fury versus White. That can't be reversed. Well, that is true. They've ordered the fight, but they cannot. Well, the purse bid has been pushed back again and again. It's been pushed back till till Wednesday? Yeah, till Wednesday. And there's a strong indication that they still won't be able to come up with an agreement by that time. So, and Dillon White is still in arbitration. So the situation with the WBC with Fury and White is very, very complex right now, because they ordered the purse bid, but yet they still haven't got the arbitrary announcement yet, decision. So even if, I'll just say this, if they can't come, if the arbitrary decision doesn't come in and sooner rather than later, I just think that Tyson Fury shouldn't be held to that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not the biggest Fury fan. He shouldn't be held to that standard where he's got to wait on White to for the the litigation process of the decision. So I think he should just go ahead and fight Usyk and let the WBC and Dillon White sort out that arbitration situation. I think that's the case. So I just kind of find it bizarre that this whole situation with these 4 fighters is holding up the division, man. People accused Wilder for holding up the division for many years, which he did to some degree. I'm not gonna deny that. But but the belief is that if you got the title off Deontay Wilder, or in some cases Tyson Fury, the division can move on. We can get the better fights, as the fights that we want. But it seems like things have gotten worse, man. Tyson Fury retaining his title, I give him credit for that, even though he fucking had to be, he was forced to defend his title for the first time after 30 semi fights, whatnot. But hey, I'll power to him. But yet, here we go again. When it comes to a high profile fight, we have an issue with Tyson Fury. You got an issue with Dillon White. We have an issue with Anthony Joshua. As far as Usyk concerned, he doesn't care. He's like, look, whatever issues you guys got, sort it out. I'll fight any one of you. I don't care. Just sort that out, and I'll wait for you. So I'm not going to put this on Usyk. It's just those 3 fighters has always got to be an issue. And to be fair, Joshua really doesn't have much of an issue in making big fights. I mean, except for 1 or 2 off fights, naming Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. In some cases, the Dillon White rematch, I mean, there was a lot of issues in making that happen. So I'm not going to say that's all his fault, but there were some situations that he could have conceded to make those 3 fights happen, and it didn't happen. So, well, as far as Fury and Josh was concerned, let's be real. I just think looking back into that situation, realistically, that fight was never going to happen. Sorry, it was never going to happen. I mean, it's too bad that we were all strung along for almost more than a year, hoping that fight was going to take place, but it didn't come to fruition. So, yeah. Big Boy says the arbitration result isn't due to March. I blame the WBC. Yeah, I agree, man. This is bizarre. I mean, if the arbitration ruling is not due to March, then why should Fury wait around? Why should he wait around? I mean, if Usyk in his camp or in Fury's camp is willing to make the fight, let them proceed with the fight until that arbitration ruling is resolved. I mean, there's nothing legally that should tell Tyson Fury that he's got to wait until that issue is resolved. There's nothing that can tie him down to that. He can get an exemption from the WBC and allow him to go proceed with another fight until it's till the ruling is till it's resolved. I mean, the WBC has a choice. They'll give it to him, but they say, okay, we'll give you an exemption, but we're not going to sanction the fight, whoever you decide to fight. Then again, if it's Alexander Usyk, they will give him the exemption and they will sanction that fight, because that's a huge, huge sanctioning fee that they're going to collect right there from that fight if it were to happen. The WBC should never order that fight until the arbitration result was out. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I was kind of confused about that because not confused, kind of. I was very confused because I found it bizarre that they were ordered the fight, and yet the purse split situation was not resolved. So I thought that was strange. It's like, well, how do you order a fight if you haven't even structured the purse split? that was bizarre. Now, some will argue that, well, yeah, you can still order the fight, but if the purse pit issue hasn't been resolved, then you can still order the fight, but whoever is the fighter doesn't agree with the purse split, they can still fight that. Yeah, I get that, but take the Danny Jacobs and the Gennady Golovkin situation. The WBA ordered that fight. I think it was an 80-20 split or a 70-30 split. 70% go to Golovkin. He was a super champion, and 30% goes to Jacobs, who was a regular champion. Jacobs didn't like the purse bid ruling with the WBA. He didn't like it, so he contested that, and he wrote a petition to for the WBA to reconsider their decision and up the purse split. I think it was 60-40. I believe that's what he wanted. He wanted 40%, and the WBA declined it after the board of directors or the board of governors on a majority vote. So in that situation, he understood what the purse split was, but he contested it after the fight was ordered with the purse split set. He contested it, and then he said, you know what, if I can't, if the WBA is not going to reconsider, then I'm going to take it to a purse split. I mean, it's not a purse split, a purse bid, where I'm going to get what I want, but I'm going to have my backers win the purse bid, so that way they could dictate this terms, dictate where the fight should take place and other terms that comes with it. The one thing they cannot do is change the split. So obviously, I would just assume that would have been the case for the WBC when they ordered Fury versus White, but it's just so confusing, man. I don't know, man. You got Dillon out here who hasn't even been a fucking champion, let alone a European or British level champion. I think he beat Ian Lewis for the British title. I could be wrong, or the Commonwealth title, but he hasn't even been a European level champion yet. This guy's going out talking about I deserve 45%. That's fucking crazy. Okay, I don't know why people keep misconstruing the rules or misinterpreting it. Look, the rules specify that the interim champion gets 45%. The question is, it's not. Is it guaranteed? No, it isn't. It's not guaranteed. It is up to 45%. The reason why it's up to 45% because the WBC has a very, very special, if not a very controversial clause in their bylaws and committee rules that any purse split that they decide on has to be voted on by the majority vote with the board of directors or the board of governors. They have a right, they have a discretionary power to change the split. So that's what people don't understand. All right. So me personally, I don't know why Dillon is doing this. I mean, if you want to blame Tyson Fury for some of this situation, perhaps you can, because they wanted the 80-20 split and they got what they wanted so far from the preliminary process. But Dillon should call his bluff and take the fight and say, you know what, I'll take the fight. I'll take 20%. If I beat you, I get additional 10%. Not only your title, I get additional 10%. And he was offered $5.5 million, his highest career payday, plus a split of the fucking pay-per-view revenue. What more does this guy want? So now the rumor is that he doesn't want no more than $10 million. Okay, so I tell you what then. Since let's just say the arbitrator does not rule if Dillon White and Eddie Hearn's favor, what they want to do, take it to a purse bid as they want it? Okay, go ahead, take it to a purse bid and see who's going to bid $50 million for that fight, which I highly doubt that's going to happen unless the Saudis get involved, which I don't see why would they want to bid $50 million for a fight like that? It's a mandatory fight, so I don't see why they want to bid $50 million for it. I just can't see how. If they could, if they want to, but I just don't see it as far as what's in it for me type of situation for the Saudis. But anyhow, speaking of Anthony Joshua, I mean, he's been posting a lot of training clips, man. I that's another thing we got to talk about. I don't understand why he's doing that. I just think he's giving away too much, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to matter in the rematch against Usyk if it does go down. I don't think that's going to matter. But at the same time, it doesn't seem that he's changed much after that Usyk fight. Maybe there's more to come. We don't know. But if I was an advisor, if I was advising him, I would just say, you know what? Let's just hold off of posting all these training clips that you're doing, man, because you're giving too much away, in my opinion. He still looks robotic. He still looks stiff. His jab looks slow. I mean, I don't know. Maybe because, during the drills and the sessions that he's having, he's starting to tire out. That's why he's looking a lot slower, not snappy. I don't know, man. His footwork is not. It's just everything. There's just not much progress as far as changing his ability. And he has yet to. Again, I have to repeat my point here. He has yet to reveal who the new trainer is, and dude, it doesn't take you 4 or 5 months to figure that out. I'm sorry, it doesn't. After losing the fight, it doesn't take you 4 or 5 months. I mean, Deontay Wilder, to be fair, well, we had a lockdown, so that was a different story. But even before the lockdown, a little bit after, the lockdown took place, he immediately fired Mike Breland after that fight, and he was finding a new trainer. And I think he already had that already locked in. But since we were in the middle of lockdown, there was no point to announce it until things things had settled down as far as the restrictions concerned. So, and before that, even after the second Fury Wilder fight, not only Wilder invoked his rematch clause, the fight was already announced like 2 weeks later for July 20th. It was already penciled in before the lockdown happened. In this case, it's been 4 months, and we have yet got anything penciled in for the Joshua and Usyk rematch. Nothing. I have a feeling, man, that somehow, some way, and I could be wrong here, somehow, some way, and this is my opinion, I think Joshua and Ern is going to decide to go ahead and to move on from the Usyk fight. I really think that's probably what they're going to do. They might not even take a step aside deal. I think that they're just going to say, you know what, whatever the situation is, someone's going to say that, oh, they may come up with an injury just to get out of the fight. Okay, who cares? If they do, so be it. But to me, it just goes to show they're not ready for it. They're not ready for it. And by the way, Eddie Hearn didn't want Joshua to fight Usyk to begin with. He didn't want him to take that fight. He was trying to get him to drop the belt and not face Usyk. So there goes to show how Eddie Hearn knows and understands the situation for what it is. He probably knows that he just doesn't see how Joshua gets the title back. He doesn't see it. I don't think Joshua believes in himself either, because Derek Chisora's come out and said that, yeah, I talked to AJ, even though I think he'll beat Usyk the rematch. I talked to him, and he said that he's only watched the first 4 rounds of the fight, and that was it. Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. I mean, look, if you're going to really understand how you lost the situation, you're going to have to look more than just look beyond the 4 rounds. Okay, I know it's very, very difficult to watch you take a beating and defeat the way you did, but you have to really look at the mistakes that you made, man. You're really going to have to observe it so that way you have a better understanding what you need to do in the rematch. But not only that, he's in the gym lifting weights again. Oh God, somebody should tell Joshua, stay off the weights, man. Seriously, stay off the weights. How's that going to help you against Usyk? You're already strong as it is already. You already had a 20-pound weight advantage over the guy in the first fight. Why do you need to someone speculate that he's packing on, a few more pounds just hopefully so that way he could go for the knockout? That's not going to work against a guy like Alexander Usyk. I just don't get why they're doing that. Same thing with Deontay Wilder. I did not understand why he blew up to 238 pounds, knowing that's not his natural weight. I just don't understand why he did that. To me, he should have been his optimal weight at 220, 225, or maybe 226, the highest, 226, 27. That's his optimal weight, because Wilder at that weight can maintain his speed, he can maintain his endurance, he can maintain, he has his punch resistance. That's still there. But he was just worried about the fact that Fury's going to lean on him and drain him. But to me, I don't care. I mean, if that was Malik Scott, if anybody was going to prepare him for that situation, I say, you know what? If this guy's going to lean on you, then you fucking hit his ass in the hip. Hit him in the hip area so that way the referee can't see it. I think that he should have done that. And I don't advocate for fighters from fighting dirty, but a guy leaning on your neck like that, on your head, that is equally fighting dirty. Hey, look, it's a boxing game. That's the way it is. Klitschko got away with that in fights for many years. Okay, no excuses. But like I said, though, if a guy's leaning on you like that, where he know he can't do that, but he's getting away with it, what do? You fight fire with fire. You fucking hit his ass and low blow his ass and let him know you're not gonna lean on me again. So that way he gets the fucking message. Hell, T.L. Trinidad used to do that shit to slow guys down. Wilder should have did the same thing. But hey, it's what it is. Big boy said Wilder, let me see. White won't settle for 20%, and Bob Arum won't want the fight to go to purse bid and lose control, so it's a stalemate. Yeah, obviously that's what it is. But look, I think, honestly, if you ask me, I think the reason why Top Rank wanted 80-20 because they knew that there's this thing, they're not going to win the purse bid against Hearn in the zone. They know that. So that's why they didn't want this to go to purse bid. So how do you avert the purse bid or avert a way for them to pull out of the fight? You strategically say, you know what, we want 80-20 split. Because you know damn well that's probably going to be too far out of Hearn's reach for them to get to win that purse bid. I'm not saying they don't have the money. They may have the capital, but will the zone allow that? Because how are they going to recoup $50 million off of a Fury-White fight? I just don't see it. I don't see it. Even in the UK with its GDP and its revenue potential, that's not going to, I don't think it's going to eclipse $50 million. No, I don't see it. I really don't. Is it a big fight in the UK? Absolutely. But it's not big enough for them to generate $50 million. No, it's not. It's not. So again, if Dillon White wants $10 million, that's his minimum, right? 80-20. So that means that Tyson Fury needs to get 40 million based off the split. And you think the zone is going to pay for that? I doubt it. I really doubt it. Yeah, in my opinion, the only way Joshua beats Usyk is by knockout with the lucky punch. And he doesn't have the tools to beat Usyk in my eyes. Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, I'll give Joshua a puncher's chance, just like I gave Wilder a puncher's chance against Tyson Fury in the third fight. That's all I'm giving Joshua. He's got a puncher's chance. The reason why I'm giving him a puncher's chance is because the heavyweight division is the most unpredictable division of all time. Anything can happen with one punch. We've seen so many upsets over the years, over the decades, over centuries. I mean, obviously, I wasn't born around that time, but I'm just saying though. Who will Joshua fight next? Joyce Herkovich, maybe. Joyce, no, that's a dangerous fight. I think Herkovich, that's equally dangerous because Herkovich is a hungry fighter. And by the way, it's sad to say that Herkovich had another fight that fell through. And to be fair, his opponent was supposed to be Tony Yoka. And be fair to Tony Yoka, that's not his fault. He accepted the fight, but unfortunately, Martin Bacoli and his handlers had intervened and interjected that situation. Say, hold on. Remember, we were supposed to fight. Now, I know our fight was called off because of restrictions in France, because that's where the fight is supposed to take place between Martin Bacoli and Tony Yoka. But since you are contractually obligated to fight me, you can't get out of that fight. I don't care who you're going to fight. You can't fight Verla Herkovich until you fight me. So because of that, that stipulation, Yoka had to pull out of the fight. So Herkovich, will Joshua fight him? Will Eddie Hearn even set up that fight? I don't know, man. Herkovich, I mean, don't know. I'm not haven't really been quite impressed with Herkovich. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's a good fighter. He's got some good skills. I don't know. Maybe I don't know, but he can pack a punch though. I don't know. He's young. He's fresh, and he's hungry. I don't know if Hearn would be keen on putting Joshua in there against a guy like Herkovich right now, especially a guy who's working his way up through the ranks. I don't know about that. Definitely not Joyce Herkovich. I don't know. I don't see it. Maybe I would say a Adam Kornacki type of fight. I know Kornacki's coming back all back-to-back losses, but hey, a Kornacki type of fight or a Trevor Bryan type of fight. But I know Trevor Bryan and Daniel Dubois are supposed to be fighting, so we'll see if that even pans out. Robert Helenius maybe. I don't know. Maybe that would be equally dangerous because Helenius is coming off 2 good wins against Kornacki, so he's in good, in top condition right now. So I'm not sure if you want to put him in there against Helenius at this time. I mean, there's plenty of fights for Joshua. I mean, Zhang, the Chinese heavyweight. I don't know about that one. Actually, you know what? I don't think that's a bad fight. I think Joshua could win that one. Because Zhang is very slow-footed. I mean, he's a southpaw. He's got decent hand speed, but he wings his shots and he keeps his chin up in the air. So his defense is not that great. So that should be a good fight for Joshua. I think that'd be a good comeback fight for him. I mean, not comeback. Yeah, comeback fight. If he doesn't fight Usyk, I think that would be a fight that they can make. Let's keep it real, guys. No matter who Anthony Joshua fights, he's going to generate money and revenue. That there's just no question about it. The guy is still a big draw. Don't matter who he fights. Wilder coming off of 2 back-to-back losses against Tyson Fury. Yes. Say what you will about Wilder, but Wilder is money. Okay. He may not draw as much as Joshua, but that man he can draw. That anybody, whenever Wilder, whoever he fights, that's going to make money. Straight up. Same thing with Tyson Fury. Say what you will about Tyson Fury, but whoever he fights is going to make money as well. So those guys are big draws in the heavyweight division. Of course, Anthony Joshua is the biggest draw. But my point is that, yeah, I just don't think he should fight Usyk. I think there's a strong possibility they are going to just go ahead and let Usyk go his way, let him right off to the sunset, do what he wants to do with the titles. And then whenever they're ready to fight him again, I say another year down the line or 2, then I think he could go back in there with confidence and beat Usyk. Because if you think about it, Usyk is getting old. He just turned 35 this year. All right. Now again, in the heavyweight division, that's not really old. That's that's still relatively young. In fact, the heavyweights have a longer lifespan than the lower weight classes. So, but his style and his his style doesn't it wins over time. So as older the older the Usyk gets, the chances of him slowing down becomes greater. So he may not be able to maintain the same foot speed, the reflexes, or whatnot. So maybe it would be best for them to for them to step aside and let Usyk ride off and let him do what he wants to do. If he's still top of the game in 2 years or so, when he slows down, then yeah, go back in there and and fight him again. But at this point, nah, he's not beating Usyk. I don't give a damn what anybody say. That's just my opinion. I just don't see how he wins that fight. None. And I think they know that too, given the fact they have yet to announce the rematch date and venue. They have yet to announce it. It's been 4 months after that first fight, and I find that very bizarre that we're at this point right now guessing to figure out what Anthony Joshua is going to do. He has yet to announce his new trainer. We were supposed to get that announcement last week. We didn't get it, which I kind of had a feeling that wasn't going to happen. He's out there posting training clips. He's out there having a good time. That's his life. He can do what he wants to do. But getting manicures and pedicures in Dubai, I mean, what in the hell is he doing, man? I mean, oh, dude. And Usyk is just like, all right, whatever, man. Whenever you're ready, let me know. I'm gonna kick your ass again. All right. Let's see. I think it comes down to Bob wanting a bigger profile fight for Fury. Last fight on his top rank contract. Yeah, it is. But guess what, man? Kiwi, believe it or not, big boys, Kiwi, believe it or not, there's a very good probability, and I hope to God this doesn't happen, that they might find some way, somehow, to strategically get that Wilder 4th fight. I think that's what they're maybe putting down as an option. I have a feeling that's what they're going to try to do. Now, to me, I don't want that to see that. I think Deontay Wilder needs to work his way up. He has to earn that right to fight Fury for the fourth time. He needs to get 3 good wins under his belt, like a Joshua, under his belt, mixed up with a Kornacki, or maybe mixed up with a Robert Helenius. If he could get, or Andy Ruiz, if he could get Andy Ruiz, he could get Robert Helenius, he could get Anthony Joshua. Those 3 wins will definitely put him back in contention to fight Fury again. I say that's what he needs to do. Hell, I'll go ahead and trim it down to 2 fights. Beat Ruiz, which there's rumors that that's the fight they're going to make. Beat Ruiz. They get in there against Joshua if it ever comes down to it, just say hypothetically. If he does that, then bam. Then you can fight Fury again. Then I can say, okay, you warrant the 4th fight, depending on how he wins those 2 fights. Now, if they going in straight away again for the 4th time, I'm going to be pissed off about that. I don't want to see it. I know the Wilder diehards will want to see that, but I don't want to see it. I'm sorry. And I'm a Wilder fan. I do not want to see Fury and Wilder fight the 4th time, at least not right now. I think Wilder really needs to work his ass off to get back into contention. He needs to work his way up. So that's just my opinion. I knew Yoka would. I think Yoka knew he was bound by contract. It's something to fight to save face, but he knew it wouldn't happen. Hey, you know what? That's a possibility. That's not the wrong possibility. That's not saying it's a conspiracy, but to your point, yeah, he probably said that because he wanted to save face. He just wanted to say, hey, I'm not gonna back down for any challenge. And I kind of find it strange too, because Yoka's had some bad experiences against Herkovich in the amateurs. I know they fought 3 times. I think 2 of those 3 fights, out of those 3 fights, I think Herkovich won 1 of them. Out of those 2 fights, they were very controversial wins for Yoka. Some felt that Herkovich won the last fight in the Olympics. So, not Yoka, I'm sorry. Herkovich won the last fight against Yoka in the Olympics in Rio. So, I don't know. So, we'll see. We'll see how that plans out. Richie Go says, Joshua is this episode. Where'd you get your information from? Well, it's reported by Gary A. Davies, who's writing for the Telegraph. He says that he's willing to step aside. Then again, he is open to the step aside deal. So there's 2 contradictory statements right there from Gary A. Davies. But if it is true, that does contradict Joshua. Joshua's being a little contradictory there, because he just said that he's a stepping aside last week, and now all of a sudden he's coming out and saying that he's open to the idea. That's what Gary A. Davis is saying. That's what's being reported by the Telegraph. However, who knows? Joshua could come out and debunk that story. He can knock it down. Same thing with Eddie Hearn, which I think they can. That may happen. That's why I put in the title, is this true? I didn't say it was concrete. I say if this is true, then I believe that that's the best choice for them to go, because he's not beating Usyk. I know you guys have a very, very strong belief that Anthony Joshua is going to win that title. I mean, it's wishful thinking. All right. And the reason why I say that is because this is not an Andrew Ruiz situation. Alexander Usyk is not going to blow up to 30 fucking extra pounds and not train for a rematch. He's not going to take the eye off the ball. This guy is too disciplined. He's too mentally strong. He's a long decorated amateur. This guy is just his work rate and his work ethic is just unbelievable. It's impeccable. You can't compare him to Andy Ruiz. I don't know why you guys believe this is going to be another Andy Ruiz situation. In fact, Joshua knows that himself. You know why Joshua knows that? Because he's not showing that same level of confidence like he did with the Ruiz rematch. Joshua knew that, you know what? He caught me with a good shot. I didn't recover. I promise you, I know how to beat him. And he did. He knew not to engage with the guy. That's how you beat Ruiz, because Joseph Parker showed that in their fight. You got to keep him at distance. You can't give him the close court, the mid and close quarter ranges. You can't give Ruiz that range, because he's going to outpunch you. He doesn't have the fastest feet. His defense is not that great. Not saying it's not good, but it's not that great either. His head movement is not that great. So you could beat a guy like Ruiz. Just keep him at the end of your jab. But with Usyk, you're not going to do that. You can't fight him at long range. You certainly can't beat him in close quarters. Even if you try to pressure him, Usyk is going to fucking catch you and hurt you with some good shots. And believe me, I know some people are saying that, well, he should have took the Derek Chisora approach. Well, the problem with that is that Anthony Joshua is not a pressure fighter. He doesn't fight like Chisora. That's not his style. Chisora is a guy who knows that I'm not the best skillful fighter in the world. I'm not a boxer. I'm a brawler. I'm a technical brawler. So what I'm gonna do to you is that you hit me with 2 shots, I'm gonna come back with 3 or 4 shots. I'm gonna take as much punishment as I can, so that way I can weather the storm and hopefully I can get you out of there. That's how Chisora fights. Anthony Joshua doesn't fight like that. He doesn't have the endurance or the durability to fight that type of style. He doesn't have it. So I'm just keeping it real. He doesn't have that. And it's something that should have been corrected a long time ago. And unfortunately, Rob McCracken is not the guy to do it. Now, to be fair, is either you have stamina, is whether you have endurance, well, in other words, they're the same thing, is whether you have endurance or durability or not. It's either you got it or you don't. And I think can Joshua improve in those deficiencies? He can. But I just don't think it's going to be enough, man, because this guy Usyk is just incredibly too good. And again, Eddie Hearn didn't want Joshua to take this fight. He was trying to get him to drop the belt. He was trying to get him to duck the Usyk fight. But I'm going to give credit when credit is due. Joshua is a fighting man. He has so much pride. He believes in integrity as a fighting champion. I give him much credit in that area. But again, after what we saw in that first fight, it wasn't close. He got outclassed. He got dominated. He nearly got knocked out in the last round of that fight. I don't see how he wins that fight. The only way he wins that fight, like Kiwi says, shout out to Kiwi, big boy boxing. He and I both said that Joshua's got a puncher's chance. That's all I'm giving him. That's all I'm giving him to win that fight. If they ever make that fight. If it comes down to it. That's all I'm giving him. 3 times you watch. All right, Lath, whatever you say. Like I said, I could be wrong. If Joshua wins, hey, all power to him and give him much credit in the world. I didn't think he could do it. If he can, I'll be the first to come out and say, you know what? I was wrong. Joshua proved me wrong. I didn't think he was going to be ready for it. I didn't think he was going to be up to the task to fight a guy like Usyk in a rematch. If he can pull it off somehow, then all power to him. But the only chance he's got, and that's why I say it's a puncher's chance. The only chance he's got to beat Usyk is that he's got to find a way to get him out in 4 rounds. And shout out to Dwyer, even though I don't agree with him a lot, because Dwyer was getting a lot of fucking heat when he predicted Usyk to win that first fight. Okay? He was getting a lot of heat from, I'm not saying all of you, but the nutcases, Joshua fanboys, they were slamming Dwyer for his prediction. It was an honest prediction. Dwyer had to make a follow-up video and said, I don't understand why you guys are giving me all this vitriol. And he also said that, look, if Joshua doesn't knock Usyk out in the first 4 rounds, if he doesn't do it, he's not winning that fight. And Dwyer was right. Hell, Joshua was losing the fight in the first 3 rounds. He lost the first 4 rounds of that fight. So, and Dwyer was correct. And that's the only way Joshua's going to win that fight. He's got to find a way to knock Usyk out within 4 rounds. If he doesn't get him out in 4 rounds, he's not winning that fight. That's just the way it is, guys. I'm just keeping it real. I'm sorry. I know it's a matter of opinion, but looking at the 2 styles and looking from the outside in, I just don't see how Joshua wins that fight. I hate to repeat myself. It's bizarre they have yet to announce the rematch. It's bizarre that Joshua still hasn't found a trainer yet. He hasn't got that situation sorted. It's bizarre. It's been 4 months now. It shouldn't take that long for you to announce a rematch and get a new trainer. It doesn't take that long. Unless they're deliberately stalling for some time, I don't know. It's just confusing to me. It kind of reminds me of the J-Rock and the Jarrett Hurd situation. That's just a similar situation when J-Rock says when Jarrett Hurd announced his rematch against J-Rock, it took a long time for them to come up with a date and venue. And Jarrett Hurd fired his trainer, and he hasn't even got that. He didn't even get that situation sorted. And then finally, Jarrett Hurd decided that he didn't want to go with the rematch. So this may be the situation with Joshua Usyk, similar situation as I see it. So we'll see. But again, at the end of this live stream, who knows? Maybe they'll announce the rematch tomorrow. We'll see. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, look, in the heavyweight division, anything can happen, but Joshua's got to punch his chance. That's all I'm going to give him. He can't beat Usyk on technicality. He can't beat him in speed. He can't beat him in footwork. He certainly cannot outbox him. He certainly doesn't have the defense to beat him. So the only thing he can do is try to trust his chin, trust his durability, which he doesn't really have. So he's got to find a way to say, you know what, fuck all that. I'm going to find a way to knock you out. Whether I get hit, I'm going to try to find a way to give it back to you. That's what Deontay Wilder did. He knew that he was going to outskill Fury. He knew that. So he tried to find a way to win, even though he's taking a lot of punishment in those two, the second and third fight, especially the third fight. Wilder wasn't going to give up, and he almost prevailed. He almost knocked Fury out. So you got to have that type of mindset where you know you're going to get hit, you know you're going to take some punishment, a lot of punishment. You got to find a way to dish it back. Like Rocky Balboa said, I know Sylvester Stallone get a lot of criticism for going into the Hall of Fame as a contributor. I get that. But the one line, one of my favorite movie quotes, I think it was Rocky Balboa, the sixth Rocky film. He said that it doesn't matter how hard you get hit. It's how much you can give back what matters. That's what he said. So Joshua's got to have that type of mindset. And another thing, too, that I didn't like is one of his prior interviews. I think this is with Sky Sports. He revealed that he's going to take some motivation. He's going to take some seminars. He's going to listen to motivational speakers. He's going to see his psychiatrist. I mean, he's already had a sports psychiatrist already, but he revealed all that stuff in the interview that what he's going to do to beat Usyk. I'm like, nah, man, nah, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. You're giving your detractors, your rivals like Tyson Fury, more fucking ammunition to go after you. Usyk's not going to say anything, but I'm sure his team's watching that. They're like, oh, this guy's not mentally there. Hey, give him credit for wanting to take the rematch, but he's not going to be mentally ready. We can capitalize on it. We're going to go for the knockout next time. And I think that's what Usyk is going to try to do. He's going to go for the knockout this time. He doesn't have to, but he will. He might, because he probably have a feeling that they're going to try to rob him this time. So, if the fight's fought that close, but Usyk is gonna. If Usyk sees that, he's like, man, this guy's not mentally ready to fight me again. Why is he bothered taking the rematch? He's gonna go out and say, sit down and listen to some motivational speakers. So get me motivated to win the fight. Oh man, that is something you do not reveal. Whoever his PR, his communication rep is, why would you advise him to say that? Why? Or he decided to say that off the cuff, that I'll be pissed. Like, what the fuck? But hey, that's just him speaking from the heart. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Big Boy says, I totally agree, Dan. The set, Dan, I think I might give Joshua 6 rounds to get the job done. 6 rounds. I think that's pushing it. I'm still going to say 4 rounds, because if he doesn't get him out in 4 rounds, that's it. Joshua's not winning that fight. He's done. Except not the set. Sorry. It's all good, man. I understand what you mean. I understand what you meant. Yeah, no psychiatrist or change of mindset will help Joshua's chin once he's exhausted. Yeah, that's the truth. No motivational speaker is going to help your chin. But that's what my point is, that he knows he doesn't have a good chin. He knows he doesn't have the best endurance. Who gives a fuck? Wilder didn't care about that either. He knew he was going to he was going to be in a war. He knew that, but he fought on. He's like, fuck it. I'm going to try to take as much place as I can and give back to you. I'm going to fight my ass off. That's what Joshua needs, man. It's just like when he gets hit, he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what to do, man. And it's like, that's why I said, and I know Joshua fans, I know you don't want to hear this, but I think Joshua's, I'm not just Joshua fans, but the diehards. I know you don't want to hear it, but this is the reality. Joshua is not going to be mentally ready. He needs to just step aside and let Usyk do what he wants with those titles. He needs some confidence building fights, so that way he could get, he can feel confident again at the elite level. I'm not saying he doesn't have much confidence, but it's dwindled after that first Ruiz fight. It's completely evaporated. Let's be real. He's fought a very cautionary fight ever since. But again, even if he fought the way that he fought even if he fought Usyk the way he fought Klitschko, I don't think that would have mattered anyway. I think he would have got knocked out. So I'm just keeping it real. What up, DGO? What up? All right, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and get off the Joshua thing, because I see a lot of guys are gonna make videos about this Joshua accepting step aside. So again, we have to wait and see if Hearn and Joshua is gonna debunk that, or they're gonna knock that story down. We'll have to see this week and see where that what what more is to reveal about that situation. DGL says that I really hope AJ takes the deal and takes some fights before he fights Usyk or Fury. Yeah, I mean DGL, you and I don't agree on a lot of things, but I definitely agree with you there. I just think he needs to step aside, man. Just look at it this way: if you are offered 15 million pounds, right? That's a lot of fucking money. That's a very high 8-figure step aside deal. If you're given that deal, just take it. It's free money. You're not fighting anyone for it. Just take the deal. Get a couple tune-up fights and some confidence build-up fights, and then you could be ready. You'll probably be ready to fight Usyk or Fury. Because at this stage, throwing him back in there against a guy like Usyk or Fury is not going to help him. That's not going to help him. I'm just being honest. It's not going to help him. Big Boy says the look on Joshua's face when he gets tagged hard with his hands up reminds me of the spaceman. I've always wanted you to go to the spaceman. Yeah. It's like when you get hit. It's like when he gets hit, he just freezes. He doesn't know what to do, man. Look, nobody wants to get hit, but the way he reacts to getting hit, dude, he just like panics. He panics psychologically, man. He doesn't know what to do. And to be fair, Wilder panics too when he gets hit. But Wilder is like, fuck it, I'm going to swing for the fences. I'm not going to allow you to hit me again. That's what Wilder does. That's, if I'm Lee Scott, you got to keep him composed in that situation. Look, if you get hit, you still stick to the game plan no matter what. Plain and simple. Hoplo, what's up, Hoplo? Hoplo type says that what's the breaking news that just came in? Well, the breaking news is that Joshua allegedly accepted the step-aside deal to allow Fury and Usyk to fight for the undisputed title. That's what the breaking news is. Then again, when you read the pieces of the article that was written by Gary A. Davies, he said that Joshua's open to accepting the step-aside deal in that article. So there is some contradictory statements there. So we'll have to see if Joshua comes out and it clarify the situation or her. So we'll see. And the reason why this could be a contradictory on Joshua's part, because he said last week that he's not taking step aside. So I don't know. That's a smart thing to do. This is why Wilder failed miserably against Fury. You know what? I'll say this. If the fight was supposed to happen the way it was supposed to go down in July 2020, the third fight that is between Wilder and Fury, I agree with you, DGL. Wilder should not have gotten back in there. I thought he was not going to be mentally prepared. He wasn't going to mentally be ready for that fight. I agree with you there. But given the fact that we had COVID, we had restrictions and lockdowns that lasted more than a year, Wilder had more time to prepare for that fight. He got a new coach. He was adapting to a new style. So he had a lot of time to prepare. In fact, one of the prior interviews leading up to that third fight, Wilder said himself that, look, Tyson Fury's camp had a better chance of beating me back in 2020 instead of right now. And at one point, I agree with him because he knew that he wasn't going to be ready for that fight, even though you could say that he was forced to take that third fight going into summer of 2020. But now that the fight happened late last year, he was more prepared. He was more mentally ready, even though he was saying some bizarre shit, whatnot. He was fully prepared this time around. Yes, he took some punishment, but the man actually performed better, obviously a lot better than the third fight, like he did in the second fight when he hit Fury with some big shots. He put him down twice. He won like 3 rounds at best, but other than that, he tried his best to fight off Fury in his onslaught. But Wilder was landing some monster shots, even though he's getting beat up. So, yeah. Again, I agree with you right there, but then again, I could see a little disagreement there because Wilder had a lot of time to prepare for that third fight, given the COVID restrictions and the pandemic. He had about, I would say, 18 months. Yeah, 16 months to be realistic, or 17 months. He had 17 months to prepare. That's well enough time to kind of prepare to go back into to a fight with a guy like Fury. So, yeah, he almost succeeded, but he came up short. Not to be ashamed of that performance. Nothing to be ashamed of. Now, opposed to Joshua and Usyk, this is not the same situation. We're not in restrictions this time around. We're not under lockdown, so Joshua doesn't have much time to prepare if they're going to schedule this fight to go down in April as they slated to be. But we're into January, and we still haven't got an announcement yet. So I don't believe that fight's going to happen in April. I think there's a high probability that they're going to just step aside and let Usyk go his way. I really believe that. Man was wild. Man, what was wild was supposed to do the fight is that he doesn't have good skills as Fury does, so he had to fight. Yeah, that's what Wilder had to do. He didn't have the skills to beat Fury. He knew that. He knew he had that puncher's chance. He knows he could throw that right hand in awkward angles. But me personally, I think he could have beaten him. I think he had a chance of beating him if he had came in his optimal weight, if he used his speed, if he used his athleticism, his reflexes, his endurances. He's always known to have good endurances. But as soon as I found out he came in at 238, when I seen that, I was like, oh, fuck, man. Now you're compromising your endurance. It seems like you're trying to knock this guy out in 4 rounds. That's not going to happen. But hey, he almost did it. But, credit to Fury, he weathered the storm. So if he came in at 226, if he used his agility, if he used his athleticism, if he was landing those rights and landing a few shots here and there, he could have nicked some of those rounds against Fury because Fury was sloppy in that fight. Let's keep it real. He was sloppy. So he may have had a better shot, but I think Fury would have won anyway because, he's more crafty. He's more, he's more clever with his technique, but he was still sloppy in that third fight. He took some damage in that fight too. Let's not get it twisted. He did. And I have a feeling that Tyson Fury's punch resistance won't be the same after that third Wilder fight. And same thing with Wilder, too. Both their punch resistance is not the same. So it'll be interesting to see if Fury can still take a shot. I really doubt it's the same punch resistance like it was before. Aplo says that 15 million pounds or dollars. It says pounds, according to Gary Davies. Seems like way too much. I don't believe it. If that's real, he doesn't take it. He's stupid. Well, you know what, Haplo tight? Let's look at it this way. I think Joshua could step aside without taking any money. The reason why I think that could be the case because look, he's still going to make a lot of money, whatever whoever he fights. So that's not going to be an issue. He's put himself in that position where he doesn't have to fight top level fighters to make a lot of money. He doesn't have to do that. So I think Hearn knows that. He wants to go ahead and milk this gravy train is much longer, especially Joshua is still relatively young. Why not just take him away from those elite level fights for now? Give him some confident building fights, like 2 or 3 of them. Then he could go back in there against the elite guys like Fury, like the Usyks, or even Dillon White. I think that's what Hearn needs to do, and I think that's the right call for them. Also, don't forget, he did put Fury down several times over the trilogy, so I wouldn't say he failed miserably. Yeah, I agree. That's the whole point to DGL. I agree with that, Kiwi. He put Fury down 4 times. Fury put him down 4 times, and plus the knockout. So, yeah. I like I said though, both of those men took a lot of punishment in their 3 fights. They both did. So yeah, Fury did take punishment in the second fight, but he definitely took punishment in the first, and definitely took some punishment. Definitely took a lot of hard punishment in the third fight. Even though he was more successful, but he took a lot of punishment. He said it himself. He did. So yeah. I think Usyk will give Fury a lot of problems with the footwork, hand speed, and accuracy. Yeah, I agree. In fact, I would edge Usyk to beat Fury. I really think he will. I think he can do it. I edge him to do it. Haplo size that would certainly be a record for a step-aside deal. Yeah, it would be. It would be. I think the record, I think it goes to Lennox Lewis. When Mike Tyson was ordered to fight him back in '96 after he beat Frank Bruno. I think Lewis got like $6 million from a step aside to allow Tyson to fight Bruce Seldon for the unification bout, I believe. So I think that's the record that as it stands right now. So if Joshua does accept it, which I think he should, then that definitely is the record. Fight Doctor, what's happening? Fight Doctor says that Joshua taking step aside money is the smartest thing to do. Yeah, I agree. I think he should take it. Does a step aside secure a winner? I don't know, DGO, but from the looks of it, I think that's the agreement. If should Joshua step aside, he does get a shot at the winner. Okay, fine, but I think he should just allow them to step aside, and then if he does get a shot at either one of them, just say, hey, look, you guys, 2-3 fights down the road. Here's the way I think they should structure the deal. I get a shot at the winner, but we both get interim fights in between before we start fighting each other. So that way he has some confidence, enough confidence in going into their fight. So, yeah, I don't know. I can't say for sure, but ideally that would be the case. But Who knows? Joshua could step aside and just let either one of them go their way and not fight them for a while. So we'll see. Hoplo says that he can't even pick a trainer. If that's real and he doesn't take it, he's a fool. Hey, fair enough. Fair enough. Hoplo says, why does Wilder keep coming up? Nothing to do with Wilder in the situation. Yeah, you know what? Here's the thing. It's just like it's like a bad habit, you want to call it, human nature. It's like that with the fight game. I mean, it's like whenever Manny Pacquiao comes up, Floyd Mayweather comes up. When you discuss Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather comes up. When you discuss Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao comes up. Same thing with Sugar Ray Leonard over the years. Like whenever you talk about Sugar Ray Leonard, you talk about Marvin Hagler. When you talk about Marvin Hagler, you talk about Sugar Ray Leonard. You know, same thing with Evander Holyfield over many years. When you talk about Evander Holyfield, you talk about Mike Tyson. If you talk about Mike Tyson, you talk about Evander Holyfield. Same thing with Joshua. You talk about Joshua, you talk about with Deontay Wilder. If you talk about Deontay Wilder, you're talking about Anthony Joshua. Or vice versa. Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. Fury, Anthony Joshua. Fury, Wilder. Wilder, Fury. So it's just like it's a habit that keeps coming up. It's like these fighters are intertwined with each other. It's like there's a link there that whenever you bring up one fighter, you got to bring this other fighter into the equation. It's always been that way for years, Haplotype. Strange as it seems, but it's the norm. It's the norm. Fury beats Usyk. Too big and too skilled. I don't know about that fight, Doctor. You said that the last time. Now I got to call you out on that one. You said that about Joshua last time, beating Usyk because he was too big and too strong. But Fury is not as skillful as Usyk. Let's be real. Usyk is far too skilled than Fury. Now, Fury, the difference is, I will agree with you at one point. Fury can fight a big man fight. He can weather the storm, as opposed to Anthony Joshua, and he's got the endurance to keep up the pace. He can do it. But me personally, I think Usyk is just far too clever. I think he's more clever than Fury. That's just my belief on that. So yeah. 6 million, a step aside is a lot, but that was Tyson and Lewis. Yeah, exactly. Those are those two. At one point, speaking of that, I think at one point, Don King at the time wanted Felix Savannah to come out of the amateurs and fight Tyson, Mike Tyson for what, $50 million? I think that was a reported amount. But Savannah, he didn't turn pro because he was so faithful to his regime in Cuba with Fidel Castro. So that's why he didn't turn pro. And it's a disappointment, too, because Savannah beat a lot of great heavyweights, a lot of good great heavyweights in the amateurs. And some would argue that Savannah is the greatest amateur of all time. And his nephew, Erzlani Savannah, who didn't turn pro either, man. I mean, it's a shame that the Savannah boxing clan didn't want to go pro. Maybe there's one of them that did, but I had to go back and check. But it's sad that most of them didn't do it. They're all great fighters, believe it or not, especially in the amateur ranks. It's just like they just chose not to do it because of the fact that they were so loyal to their regime, the Cuban machine. So what's up, EJ? I'll drop the link. Give me a second. Fury isn't the mental midget like Joshua is. I mean, that's the truth. That's the truth. Haplotype says the difference here is that, I guess, is that Wilder and Joshua never fought. All the others you mentioned fought each other. That is true. That's until later. I mean, my point is that, yeah, they did, but they didn't fight till like 5 to 7 years later. Like Leonard and Hagler, they were talking about them two for 5, 6 years until they eventually fought. Same thing with Evander Holyfield. That took almost nearly almost a decade for them to finally fight each other. Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson. So yeah, they did fight each other, but it took a long time for them to eventually fight in the ring. Same thing with Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. That fight took nearly 6 years to make. 6 years. So yeah. DGO says, nah, Usyk is far more skilled. Fury has a lot of problem with smaller guys. Yeah, you know what? That is true. And Tyson Fury even admit that in the interview with Joe Rogan. He doesn't like to fight small guys that has speed and mobility. Look at the Steve Cunningham fight. He was getting outclassed by Cunningham in the first 2 rounds. Believe it or not. And that was Steve Cunningham, who's already had like losses on his record. And he was pretty much at the end of his career. And he was outskilling Fury in that first 2 rounds of that fight until when Cunningham put Fury down hard. Fury was like, "Nah, fuck that. I can't outbox this guy. He's too fast for me. So I got to go for it and go for the kill against him." So I agree with DJ on that one. Usyk is far too skilled. Fury's not going to outbox this guy. In fact, Fury might be more reluctant to get in there against Usyk because Usyk is not only as far as skill, but he's mentally stronger than Fury. Mentally strong. It's like whatever you say about him, it doesn't faze him at all. You could degrade him all you want to. You could intimidate him all you want to, like Marco Huck tried to do leading up to their fight, but it doesn't faze him. So he doesn't care. He's like, he's gonna smile at you, give you that evil grin, and say, "All right, boys, on. You're gonna try to intimidate me. You're gonna humiliate. You're gonna try to what? You're gonna try to disrespect me, or you gonna see what's gonna happen in the ring." I'm gonna say it with a smile. And guess what happened to Marco Huck? I didn't give Marco Huck one round that fight. He clearly destroyed Marco Huck in their fight. But yeah, Fury's not gonna get away with that with Usyk. I'm sorry, he's not gonna get away with that. Plain and simple. He's not going to get away with that one. Yeah, EJ, I'm going to drop the link right now. Hey, what's up, C's? C says that Wilder puts on a stronger showing versus Fury compared to AJ versus Usyk, cruiserweight Usyk. Yeah, that is the truth. He did. Wilder put up a stronger showing against Fury more so than AJ did against Usyk. That's the truth. The difference is that Wilder has, I hate to say it, say what you will about Wilder. Wilder has the heart. He knows that I'm not going to outskill this guy. He's going to put it on me, but I got to give it back to him the best way I can. I'm going to fight my ass off, even if I'm getting hurt out there. And Wilder said himself too, dude, I'm willing to die in that ring if I have to. I'm going to find a way to win. I'm not going to quit. I'm going to find a way to win. Joshua is just like mentally, dude, he's just not there. He's not there compared to Wilder. I'm sorry to say that. Yes, he's more accomplished than Wilder as far as resume is concerned. I know that's going to come up. I agree with that. But as far as the mental capacity of in situations where they're facing, Wilder seems to be stronger. And to be fair, Joshua had that mental composure in the Klitschko and the Povetkin fights. But after that Ruiz first fight, it completely evaporated. It was gone. Let's be real. It's gone after that first Ruiz fight. And he's still affected by that. So anyway, let me drop the link, guys. And I know EJ's waiting for it. I know some guys want to get in here. I'm going to briefly go over the Russell and MAGSAYO fight. I scored at 115, 113 for MAGSAYO. It was the fight was more nip and tuck for the most, for the majority of it. I say that Gary Russell Jr. Did fight a close fight, but he did mention a shoulder injury going in, and that was perfectly. It was obviously it was perfectly exhibited, as you want to call it, in the fight because Gary Russell Jr. couldn't even lift up that his right hand. He couldn't even throw a jab, and that and obviously he fought MAGSAYO with one arm, and I have to give Gary Russell some credit. He fought a close fight with one arm. But to say that he lost on the cards on a robbery, that's totally inaccurate, guys. No, Gary Russell lost that fight. Now, if you want to argue that he may have won that fight 7-5, okay, so be it. It was a close fight. But yeah, I thought he lost that fight. He gave away he just lost the round, the rounds early. That's all it is. Yes, he was making MAGSAYO miss. The good thing he's got those reflexes. His defense is on par, but he just, I guess what also played a part to why he lost is the inactivity, man. Let's keep it real. The inactivity was also caught up with him too, and I had a feeling that was going to catch up to him eventually. So, no robbery on my end. Will there be a rematch between MAGSAYO and Russell? Maybe, because I know MAGSAYO's team welcomes it. I know he's managed by Sean Gibbons, and Al Heyman's kind of managing the guy as well. So, yeah, let's see here. What's up, Mark? What's up, EJ? I see Mark with the Usyk avatar. What's up, guys?
Yeah, yo, full screen it. Where do you see what it says?
Yeah, hold on, guys. I'm gonna fix my headset real quickly. Can you say that again, Mark?
Just full screen it and you'll see what it says.
Good, man. We're good, man. What's going on?
God bless. How's everyone?
Yeah, God bless, man. So, let me ask you guys this, man. So, what do you guys think about the headline here that Joshua is going to step aside? If it's true, what do you guys think?
Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
Well, I don't know what to think of it, like straight off the bat, just because Dillon White that fight was ordered by the WBC officially, right?
Right.
And they put a set date down on that. So I don't know what will happen with the WBC, because if Dillon doesn't want to accept a step aside himself, they could find themselves in a huge legal battle then. So
Right.
I don't know what Joshua would be stepping aside for exactly. So I'm not too sure.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Because I kind of I skimmed the article because it was a bit contradictory what Gary Davis said. Because he said the headline says that he is going to step aside. Then again, if you read the body of the article, he said that he's willing to accept the step aside. So I'm like, okay, did he accept it or he didn't? But the point is that even if he said he's willing to accept it, then he's kind of contradicted himself because Joshua said last week that he's going to take the fight. He's not stepping aside. Now he's saying that he is. He's considering. So we don't know what's going on here unless they come out and clarify the situation. So I mean, what do you think about this, EJ?
That's messed up, man. I'm sad, bro. I'm sad. Yeah, I'm. If it's listen, it's not like I want them to fight Usyk, but you can't go on for about over 6 years. I want to be on the speed. I want beating that drum,
Right.
and you know all this fiction. A lot of people jumping on board. Yeah, the whole Wilder thing. I don't want to take Wilder. What was it for? What was the end game? Just to do all that, to give up your belts, to give up. I know. I mean, you obviously you haven't got the belts now, but what was all that for? To say all that stuff? I mean, your legacy with that. I mean, Mike Tyson does that. Like Riddick, I know Riddick. That's why Riddick Bowe was ridiculed. You know what I mean? He dropped the belts in front of Lennox Lewis. Right. You know, Lennox Lewis took out the bin, and you know Lennox Lewis he maintained the obesity, but Mike Tyson paid him step up size money so they can do that around the whole. If they paid it, but Lewis weren't dropping no belts. And then when it ended by the end of it, he reigned as the best ever. Now Usyk, yeah, bro, like he's looking good right now, isn't it? Like you end of the day when it comes out of this thing, you look at these guys, and when it's all said and done, you you rate these guys in history. And if Usyk continues, on his trajectory, he's going to be considered one of the Hall of Famer. I'm telling you, because he's already was undisputed cruiserweight champion. He just knocked off AJ, and AJ seemed like he doesn't want that smoke. He goes in and knocks off Fury, and if he goes in and knocks out Wilder, and then continues his trajectory, bloody hell, mate. You know what I mean? You look at that, you say, you know what? He was the best of the decade. Yeah. He was the best. He would be the best in the era. Yeah. I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed, and I've been going backwards and forwards with some of the coaches and top fighters, and they say, yeah, you take the money. But I'm like, hold on a minute, he's earned how much money in all these fights, stadium fights, America, Dubai? What has he spent off all the money? Like, he's got more money. Then I thought to myself, why didn't they offer Usyk the money? Then I remembered Usyk wasn't going to take the money, step aside money, right? So, okay, you're blocked in that seat. We'll fight the bloody man. We'll fight the man. You know, look at this, right? Let me put this right? Alan Minter didn't want to fight Marvin Hagler. All right. Theo Fermo, they with that whole thing with Hagler, you know, Hagler won the fight and it was a draw, right? But Hagler said, bro, if we're gonna fight him, I have to fight him. I can't vacate the belt. You know what I mean? And he's you know, even though how the fight went and he got bottled and Hagler, but boy, Alan Minter weren't gonna drop the belt. That's a lifetime achievement of earning something. I can't imagine any fighter in the amateur stuff that's all of a sudden say, okay, I'm just gonna, you know, I'll fight someone else. But who made you look like a softie? First off, then you look at the fight with Usyk. It looked like he was just happy to go the distance. And then and you see that this is what I'm saying to say. This is how I'm looking at it, like on retrospect, You look like you was happy. You never really believed you could beat him. And now you're just gonna take the step aside money to avoid him, and hopefully someone beats him so you can try and get a run at it. Nah. That's messed up. That's real weak. And it's real weak.
Well,
I'm not
gonna lie. Heard that's making that suggestion.
Yeah, I know that. But you know what? Everyone's saying it's smart business. It's smart business. But I remember Nigel Benn saying, when he was fighting, if it was money I was chasing, money comes and goes. But the legacy fights that Nigel Benn had, I mean, he didn't get the full props with the Jerry McLennan fight, right? But bruv, going to America, Doug DeWitt, Iron Barkley, the Eubank fights. If Eubank don't have but no one, you know, that's you in America. But over here, like the Eubank fight, if Nigel Benn vacated his belt, the Eubank fight don't happen. That whole legacy thing doesn't happen. You see what I'm saying? Nigel Benn said, "What? Who's this guy? I'll fight him. Not a problem." That, you know what I mean? Now look. AJ said he wanted to fight him, but them advisors and them trainers, they've messed him up because they were the same advisors telling him not to fight Wilder. You know what I mean? He could have compromised with Wilder. Why could he compromise Wilder and got that fight on? and we could have a mega fight. We could have 3 fights already with Wilder AJ.
Yeah.
And I'm disappointed.
Yeah, let me just say this though. I know, call me conspiracy theories on that one. I know we had to go back to that Wilder Joshua situation. I think they were both in on it. I think that both sides were trying to milk the situation to build the fight bigger than what it seemed at that time, because that's what
Possibly.
they did. I think that's what was happening, because kind of Joshua kind of alluded to that in the interview with the Breakfast Club that was happening. So, I mean, look, this to me, that's why I was worried about that, because look, this is a heavyweight division. One punch can change everything. This is not like the smaller weights that you could go up in weight and choose. There's a bigger pool of fighters that you could fight in the lower weight classes as opposed to the heavyweights. That's not that type of division. So you can't. That's a dangerous risk of trying to milk the situation. And then look what happened. Both Wilder and Joshua took bad losses. Both of them got knocked out. Both of them taking a lot of punishment. Both of them not the same fighters mentally or physically. So, I mean, it's not saying it's not going to not be a good fight if they fight again. It'll still be a good fight either way, but it just doesn't hold the same fruit as it did when they were both undefeated and they were both champions. So, yeah, let me read the comment real quickly. Shout out to Lady Chan. Lady Chan. Lady Chan says that once those corporate endorsements came back in a truckload, his whole vibe changed. I'm a Joshua supporter, but I think that's what's the particular theory. I will say this, Lady Chan, that I would kind of agree with that, because Marvin Hagler said it best. So shout out to Marvin Hagler. I know we just brought him up just a second ago. Marvin Hagler once said, and I always like to refer to this quote, it's very difficult to go out and do road work or do some training 5 o'clock in the morning when you waking up in a bed, in a king size bed in the silk pajamas in a mansion. It's yeah. So, it's very difficult to get out of that mindset. It's like, look, I can understand that from a psychological standpoint, because look, if you're making $10 million a pop per fight and you're living in a 5,000 square foot home, I mean, and I'm living in a king size bed, why do I need to continue to have that hunger to go out and do 5 a.m. road work? Why do I need to continue to do that? You know what I'm saying? So, I'm not saying, part of that mindset. All right. Okay. This dude, I got to get you out of here. I have a feeling who this guy is. Mark,
can I ask you a question, Mick? Yeah, it's a troll account. It's a troll account.
Yeah.
But can I just say one thing real quick? Yeah, I don't believe the story, by the way, just because of the person who's breaking the news. I think he's made it. He's doing because I'm not going to believe Tyson Fury's #1 hype man. Because most of the stories he tends to break about what's happening with Fury's next fights and stuff always tends to be bullshit to sell articles right before the news comes out.
Right, that's a good point. I did bring up the fact that Gary Davies is not always 100% accurate when it comes to putting out stories based off his sources. So
when it comes to Tyson Fury, he always seems to be wrong.
That's true. Well, to be fair though, he was kind of right in the situation with the whole Joshua and Fury situation. He was right about that one. I'll give him credit there. But to your point though, I was going to say though, after he milked
bullshit for 3 weeks, he was milking it more than anybody for 3 weeks, and then he changed his tune, and then people were like, "Oh, look, he's right," because that's what he does. Watch, he'll change his tune on this in 9 days after every other person takes his article and rehashes it. And then he'll come out with a different story.
And that's what's happening right now. That's why I titled this live stream, "Is It True?" Because when I skimmed the article, I read 2 contradictory things. The title said that he set the step-aside money, Anthony Joshua, that is. And then if you read the article, it says that Joshua is open to the step-aside deal. I'm like, well, wait a minute. You just said in the article that he's accepting it, and then you're saying that he's willing to accept it. So it's kind of like there's a contradictory there. So, but even if that's the case, then Joshua's kind of found himself in a bit of a contradictory situation, because he said a week ago he's not taking step-aside deal, and now he's open to it now. So I mean, unless somebody got in his ear saying, "Yeah, we got to look at this, Josh. Let's look at this." You can't. This is 15 million pounds you're talking about here. You're not fighting anybody. That's free money. Take it, and you're guaranteed the shot at the winner. That gives you more time to prepare. That somebody might have gotten his ear and said that. That's why he's willing to. He's open to that idea. So. I don't know. Yeah, to your point though, you're right.
Yeah, but how come Usyk didn't take it though? Because at the end of the day, AJ been earning 15 mil, 30 mil, man. I don't understand. This don't make no sense. AJ earning 30 mil stadium fights.
Because Usyk hungry and AJ not.
Huh?
Yeah. Jab was
Usyk
good.
Usyk hungry. AJ full.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, like you could have seen the thing with Usyk. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. It looks bad. It looks
Yeah.
bad. I don't unrival. It looks bad, man. And you see the thing with Fury saying that stuff about that's and then I started to put things together. I mean, look, if the story comes out for us, then I'll think. But I'm just gonna like put two and two together, maybe come up with six. But I'll put it together. When Fury was on this last week saying Usyk, all of a sudden he attacked him and said, "Yeah, you're on steroids." I was like, why did he do that? Like,
Right.
why did he do that? Why did he attack him? Out of nowhere, you're taking PEDs, your big Dossa and all that. I was like, what are you attacking him for? You're not fighting him. Now this comes up. I'm like, oh shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh
Yeah.
shit. So he knows he's gonna fight him. And that's why he was putting them stuff out there, declaring war. Maybe they all know it's happening and we're the last to know. That's what I'm saying, man.
Yeah,
That's
a
really
good
come
point.
in.
That's a good point because now some Tyson Fury is getting mad at AJ. Like, you let this little motherfucker come up in middleweight and beat you. Now I got to take care of him. That's what Tyson Fury says. I'm going to take care of him.
Yes, you see,
I'm like,
yeah. That makes it that, yeah, he's dropped the story. That's what's happened. And that's why he attacked him, because it's already been a done deal. That's why he's dropped it out. This is what I'm saying. So I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna go with it and say the story's legit. All right? Because AJ, I look at AJ in camp and he's with all these different trainers. He ain't serious, man. I mean, what are you doing? I mean, what are you doing? Like, look at that. Like, look at him. He looks terrible, right? Rob McCracken off somewhere. He ain't got a trainer. He ain't got a camp. And it's like, we've got 15 mil. You know, AJ sits down. You know what? Yeah, it's a hard fight. We didn't want to take it in the first place. Take the money. No. What about undisputed? Don't worry. I'll spin another line. You know what I mean? That's what they were on, because I remember seeing Eddie. I'm telling you, because I remember Eddie Hearn after the fight with Usyk. You know what? We should have dropped the belt, you know. And then him and AJ started laughing. I said, you see, you spinning that line, undisputed. It's all about undisputed. You know, Wilder, this, that, the other. Nah, man. Nah. These people are bad. Bob Arum ain't got nothing on Eddie Hearn, man. Eddie Hearn is worse than Bob Arum. I'm telling you, man.
You know what? Let me just say this, though. I cannot help to, and not many people, a lot of people didn't cover this, but Dan Raphael, I know, say what you will about Big Fat Dan, but he does get his sources, his stories right most of the time. He did say, he gave an interview to Talk Sport, and he did say that, hey, they asked him, what do you think about Fury, White and Joshua Usyk? And he gave his opinions about those two potential fights. He also said, don't be surprised if we don't see Fury. Don't be surprised if we do see Fury versus Usyk, because the step aside is still open, according to my sources. It's on the table. Raphael said about 3-4 weeks ago.
See,
He said that 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. He took the blood. He took the poison. He took the blue pill.
Right, then let me ask this question, right? Let's say the fight does happen.
In the chat. Go ahead, Mark.
Let's say Fury and Usyk does happen. Who's going?
If it happens,
are you?
I'll go.
I'm going.
What, I'm gonna go with Usyk. I'm going with
Usyk. I'm going with Usyk, man.
No, I'm going. I'm talking to the fight. To the fight.
Oh, wait, it might be in Dubai, where I don't know where it is going to be. Like, you don't know where it's going to be. Man.
Yo, EJ, it could be at the back end. Yeah, it could be at the back end of the fucking moon. I'm going.
I'm not getting juked up like a I'm not getting juked up like a needle cushion to go and see their fight. I'll watch it on wherever the stream will watch it. But it's gonna. But I know what Mark's talking about. But this is a historical fight. You get me? It's undisputed, and you want to be there for legacy. So I got him 100%. It's a legacy fight. You've got to break it arm.
Because y'all remember me 5 years ago saying if an undisputed fight happens, it doesn't matter where it is. I'll go.
Yeah, I got
4 years ago.
Why you? The Josh Taylor from Josh Taylor become undisputed, and it's like people. It's like we make this big sing and dance about undisputed. No one gives a shit, man. Like no one. gives a shit.
I'm talking heavyweight undisputed, bro.
In the sport in general. On the sport in general. You know why, Mark? Though, because people will look at it when you come on. It's what you do next. Like Josh Taylor is not vocal like Fury. You know what I mean? He's not vocal like most of these guys. So when he come on dispute, it's like he's in Scotland. he's in Scotland. It's like Bob Arum. He's not in England. If it was Eddie Hearn, if Josh Taylor was with Eddie Hearn, he'd be the biggest news all over. He's with the wrong promoter, man. You know what I mean? So if it's undisputed, it's historical in terms of that. If you're a historical guy, that's where you want to be. I'm not. If it's in England or London, I'd venture down to, because the atmosphere will be amazing. But I'm honest with you. I'm not. I'm like, if this has gone down and Wilder and AJ missed the boat, and these guys have secured it. You look at it, you say to myself, what did you do, man? What did you do with your time as a heavyweight champion? What a waste. And who advised you to make you two miss that shot? I mean, who advised you, man, to make you guys miss the boat when these two have gone and secured it? Fury come out of bloody nowhere, and all of a sudden he secured himself in undisputed. And another thing as well, everyone's talking about AJ takes step aside, right? So with Fury's let's say Fury's when he's in top negotiation, he's going to be asking for 60-40. How's your pride feel when they're asking for more money? Oh, he's asking for money. Okay, that's what you did to Wilder, wasn't it? And then what about if Usyk's in control? You go fight the man in the bloody Ukraine. Yeah. Actually, maybe not, because they're going to be in. I think Ukraine's fighting with Russia right now, but maybe that's not a good thing. Yeah. Maybe, but in the day, you got to fight Usyk, man. Come on, man. So in any case, yeah, it's not a good look for AJ. And if you're an AJ fan, I'm an AJ fan and a Wilder fan. They missed the boat. And Fury, he's got smarter people around him. I mean, Bob Ironman, they outsmarted Eddie Hearn, the two of them. These two old codgers, they blatantly outsmarted him. They made AJ wait. Then they knew that maybe they knew that fight could happen because of arbitration. They forced him into that Usyk fight, and they've got him into a free fall, and to got him to this vacating his shot against the heavyweight championship. I mean, my gosh.
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I think
they're too smart.
I think people were correct though a long time ago, and I think everybody's forgetting it now. I think the narrative that was going around about transatlantic Eddie, slave master Eddie, is turning out to be true, because he's the one advising Joshua or White. So if they both take step aside, why has he waited all this time to get only white men in the picture to do it?
Thank you. See, you see, Mark ain't silly. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm telling you, bro. That's what it, bro. I'm telling you, they missed the boat, man. They missed the boat. But at the same time, Wilder could have secured it. He could have fought Charles Martin, and that thing. So even that thing could happen. But man, they went for the biggest high bidder. But end of the day, AJ, AJ was supposed to be the biggest, highest earner other than Canelo Alvarez, and you couldn't give that man money, 7 mil, 50 mil. If you're taking 50 mil to take, you could have gave Usyk 50 mil. I'm sure Usyk asked for about 5, and Eddie Hearn said, "No, don't give him no money." You should have gave him Usyk whatever, and then you should have fought Tyson Fury, and this stuff would have been done. But you see, it's bad. It's bad in terms of AJ. It's good for boxing if you want to see two classics. That's a fight it's a dream fight. You see, right. Usyk and Tyson Fury, that's a dream fight for real. Like, that's the real fighters fight. Maybe in terms of money and stuff like that. But I don't know, man. I think, and you know what? They're gonna have a rematch clause. So AJ's gonna be out of the pocket for about a good 2 years anyway.
What? And you know what? If he's out the pocket, then that benefits him in a way, because he needs time to regroup, man. Dan, I'm gonna put this to you. Yeah, I'm gonna put this to you. And now, don't let no one tell you, when you're younger in boxing, yeah, it's better for you. Not when you're older. When you're older, it's harder. Hence Gary Russell Jr. You see what I'm saying? So you're older. You're not learning any. People give you, you're learning. No, man, you're old. Your body can't do what it can do when it was younger. When you're in your 20s, yeah, you're much more dangerous. Than when you're in your your early 30s and stuff like that. So what I'm saying is that the longer it is for AJ, the worse. I mean, learning what? What do you mean? In the day, you're in a fight with this guy. This guy's hitting you in the face. When did it take a gain on you that you should have bloody wrap him up, hold him, and bang him to his face? AJ did it for a bit, and he said, "Nah, I don't want to fight. I don't want to win that way." I mean, what are you talking about? Winning is winning, right? Fury, when he was losing against Steve Cunningham, as you put it out earlier on, you think he cared about how he looked? No. Yeah, that's true. Hey, shout out to Lisa Bells. She just came in here. Tony Reviews, everybody's, BG London. So let me go through the comments real quick before I get to C's. So Lady Chan says, she's trying to disagree with you, EJ. Eddie Hearn's worse than Bob, racist era. Well, me personally, I don't think Eddie Hearn is worse than Bob Arum. That's just my take. I agree with you on that, Lady Chan. But EJ, you disagree with that. Tony Reviews. Let's see where he says, listen to the sideline. Shout out to Coney Reviews. He says that, look, if Fury gets Usyk next and he will retire after winning, claim that he would be the best heavyweight ever. I know that is the biggest fear of them all. I really, that's a high probability because, Fury's a very unpredictable guy. He could probably just really going to go ahead and vacate all those belts and then come back and fight whenever he feels that is a time for him to do that. It's a possibility. So I guess I could see why the fear of Joshua, Joshua shouldn't step aside, because if he allows this to go ahead, there's no guarantee he's going to get the Fury fight should Fury win. So to me, personally, that's why I think Usyk will win. Because if Usyk wins, then that eliminates all that doubt. I think he will beat Fury. I think he'll beat him. I just think that Usyk is far too clever. He's far craftier. He's far better skilled than Fury. That's a fact. He is. So we'll see. I see your concerns on that, Tony. I see your concerns. Haplo just came in here too. So AJ doesn't duck phase. Yeah, and that's too, Lisa. He doesn't duck phase. That's why I respect him. He takes all comers. And mind you, he was advised by Hearn to not take the Usyk fight. Hearn didn't want him to take this fight. But AJ said, nah, I'm going to veto this. I'm going to show everybody I'm a fighting champion. I'm going to defend my belts against all comers. I respect him for that. But the way he lost, I just advise, to me personally, that you need to step back a little bit, man, and let Usyk go his way. And then when you're ready to fight him again, then I give him at least another year or two, so that way he can be fully prepared for that fight next time. That's just my opinion on it. That's my opinion. So, hey, what's up? I'm going to go with C's. So, C's, what's up, man?
Hey, man, what's going on, bro?
Not much, man. See, you got the Joe Louis avatar, Muhammad Ali, man. So, what's going on?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Those are my two favorite old school heavyweights, from back then. Hey, I have, but now, as far as, like, this conversation, I don't know, like, wait, what was this, like, who's the source? Is it, Blue Blood, or is it an actual
Nah,
source?
Gary Davis. It's Gary
It's
Davis.
Gareth A. Davis.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Okay,
I would be. Hey, look, no disrespect to Blue Blood, but if that was him putting that up, I wouldn't be putting up this type of live stream. No disrespect to Blue Blood.
But you think? Because I saw videos of Fury, like he was like bashing Usyk, right? I think it had a lot to do with jealousy, but he was talking about steroids and shit. Did you hear anything about that? Like, did you see those videos or whatever?
Yeah, EJ brought this up, perfectly. It's kind of bizarre that all of a sudden he's attacking Usyk, right? He's attacking Usyk, and he went after AJ too. He called AJ out, saying, "Why you let this little middleweight come up there and take your fucking belts, take them back to Ukraine, and now I got to go and take care of it now." And I'm sitting here, we're thinking, well, why is he going after Usyk for? Because we know you're not fighting him now. What's that all about? And then, before that, and like I said, many people didn't bring this up. Dan Rafael, about 3 weeks ago, gave an interview with Talk Sport, and they asked him about his opinion about the Fury and White and the Joshua Usyk, fights, potentially happening. He gave his opinion about that, and he also said, you know what? Don't be surprised if we see Fury and Usyk happening. Don't be surprised, because there's high probability that step aside is still an option. That's still on the table.
Yeah,
that's what he said.
All right. So with that said, all right. So let's go to phase 2 then. All right. It seems like, because I came in and out of the chat, so I didn't get a chance to really, I wasn't listening to the whole conversation. But as far as fight predictions, early fight predictions, if this is true, seems like everyone, for the most part, from what I heard, everyone's going with Usyk. They think that Usyk beats Fury, and they seem very much. Do you think that as well, or is everyone in the chat and everyone that's listening, does everybody think that fucking Fury's really? I mean, everybody thinks that Fury's gonna lose to Usyk, it's just a foregone conclusion, or what?
No, I'm not saying it's a foregone
I
conclusion.
don't think Fury would lose to Usyk, not if he's in shape.
Yeah. I would just say this, though. If he's in good shape, yeah, he has a better chance of beating Usyk. But I will say this, though. If we got the version of Tyson Fury that fought Deontay Wilder 2 and 3, that version of Tyson Fury is not beating Usyk. I'm sorry. He's not beating
him. Right. Is it because
that's a different fighter and a different game plan? Right. You would have a whole different game plan for Usyk.
Right. Exactly. But you have to think about, you have to put into account the weight, though, because for those two, for his second and third fight, he was pushing a good 280, right? So it's Yeah, that's a lot of weight. Knowing that Usyk for the most part is not going to sit there and just fight with you like toe to toe. He's going to try to stick and move. He's going to use every corner of the ring, and he's going to try to fight with like some type of method. And he's going to use movement, lateral movement. And he's going to be in and out. And he's more of like a boxer, right? So Fury's going to need to be on his best behavior in his best shape. He's going to have to be able to move around for 12 rounds because Usyk's not the type of fighter that's going to knock you out, at least not at heavyweight from what I saw. So,
No, but he can hurt you, though. He got the power to hurt you at heavyweight. Look, I'm going to just say this right now. I know Tony says that Usyk cannot beat Fury, right? But here's the deal. We been saying that about Usyk when he moved with the heavyweight, that we say he could beat Joshua, he could beat Wilder, he could beat Fury. I've said this once, I say it again. I believe that too, to some extent, based off his performances against Chisora and Witherspoon. I will say this. Alexander Usyk has fought bigger men for years. Going back to WBS days, we saw what he did to Joe Joyce, amongst others. He's used to fighting those type of guys who have longer reach and, who's stronger than him. He's been doing that for years, and he's beating these guys. So I just got to say, man, don't underestimate Usyk. You don't know.
He's saying Usyk can't beat Fury, but I would only say if he's in shape.
My bad. I just don't think he could hurt him, bro. Like that's the
if he's in shape, Fury I think will beat Usyk. But you never know with Fury because he's an erratic guy. Sometimes he trains, sometimes he doesn't train.
Yeah.
Sometimes he comes in heavy trying to get knockout power. Sometimes he dances the whole fight like Klitschko. You never know.
Right.
So I think if he comes in shape, I think he beats Usyk, is my opinion.
Right. But Hap. But you also have to put in consideration it's not just him being in shape. He's gonna have to change his game plan as well.
Oh yeah, but he's always been good with game plans, bro. I mean, he comes in with a good game plan every time, as far as I'm concerned.
But you can't use a word like always when it comes to Tyson Fury because he's so fucking like he's just like.
No, I'm talking about game plan. I think he always has a good game plan. I'm saying he's not always in shape, and you never know. He could be partying right now or doing whatever, dude. That guy is an enigma.
Smoking crack, cocaine.
Yeah, if he's doing that. If he's doing that, Usyk will beat him.
Shout out to Blood in the chat. What's up, OG Blood, man?
What's up, Blood? But Tony Review says that Tyson Fury is saying and doing everything he can to stay out of the ring against Dillon White. Dillon's gonna spark him. I pray that Dillon doesn't let Hearn push him to the side.
White's his favorite fighter.
Tony Reviews. Tony, I think he likes Dillon White. I think that's his favorite fighter. I could be wrong, Tony. But
that's why he's coming up in the middle of a conversation that has nothing to do with them.
Hey, what's up with you and Tony? Upload time. You don't mind me asking.
Nothing's wrong with me and Tony. We always go at it. He knows that.
All right. All right. Let's keep it. All right. That's cool. But hey, you know what? I'm gonna just say this though, Tony. I think that look, Dillon's a businessman at the end of the day. I think he's a businessman before he's a fighter. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying he's a fighter, but I think he's a businessman. I think Hearn is probably talking to him and getting in his ear and say, hey, look, you could get $5 million set aside, plus you get a shot at the champion down the road. That is going to be guaranteed to you. So you're going to make two purses based off not fighting the first time, but definitely fighting the second time. So I think Dillon would consider that because at the end of the day, he's a businessman. He's all about the money. That's a big real.
Hold up, but even if that is the case, like what does Eddie Hearn get from that? Because he only gets paid off of the events, right? If it's an actual fight.
No, he gets a percentage.
So for step aside, he gets a percentage off of step aside pay.
Yeah, he gets a percentage off that. Yeah,
I didn't know that. I thought it was based off of events.
Yeah, there's something in the contracts that whatever purses you make, they get a percentage, regardless if you fight or not. Whether it's step aside, whether it's actually an actual event for the fight, they get paid for that.
Has anyone said, Dan, the source of this step aside money? Like, who's promoting this fight? No, the source of the money.
It's Fanon. The source is Fanon and Blue Blood. It's a combination of both of them.
Nah, I wouldn't go that far.
The source of the money, not the source of the story.
Money. Yeah,
that's what I mean. Fanon's gonna pay.
Wait. Hold on, Steve. Hold on, sorry. The source of the finances has come from the Saudis because there's rumors mill, and Eddie Hearn's alluded to this too, is that the Saudis really want the Usyk and Fury fight, so they may be fronting up the cost to get the Joshua and White to step aside, so they'll allow that fight to go ahead in Saudi Arabia.
But wouldn't they? Let's say they're putting up the money. Wouldn't that go to Hearn first because he's the promoter, right? And then he would pay Joshua the step aside money.
You know what? It would go to the promoters first and then just allocate it down. Somebody's got the video back. I think that's Lisa. Hey, Lisa.
Hey, guys. That's what I asked. I'm glad I came on because I was asking in the chat, where's the money coming from? Because I just didn't see cheap Bob Arum paying it.
Nah, yeah, he ain't.
Yeah, I was curious about that too because who has 15 million pounds?
Bob Arum and Frank.
Hold on, guys. Hold on. Somebody's got the video playing in the background. Can you mind turning it down or turning that video off?
Yeah, mute everyone, Dan, man. Put the mute button, mute everyone.
All right, hold on. Let me see. Yeah, that was Lisa. Hey, Lisa.
It's yeah. Is that Lisa? Yeah, Lisa, you got feedback, Lisa.
Yeah,
you
have to keep yourself on mute until you speak. All right, listen. Now, the money that, old Bob Arum and Frank, they're going into their savings, man. Do you know how lucrative it is to have the heavyweight championship of the world? As you see, Randy Joshua, they'll break the bank. They'll break the bank, so the two of them will probably break into their savings that they've saved up for 60 years, and they've gone into it, and they probably teamed up, and they're going to work out a percentage. So the two promoters are going to make sure they get that money and all them corporate whatever and get that. So that's probably how they broke in. Remember, Wilder said he got that money from Showtime and Shelley Finkel to give AJ. So people will do what they can do to remember how they wanted to get secured heavyweight champ. They'll get how much? Reportedly, they were going to give Andy Joshua 50 mil. So Andy Joshua's taking 15 mil reportedly. I don't know if maybe it's more or less. So that's where the money's come. Remember, these guys have been around for years. They've got loads of money stored up. So
that's a record, though, for step-aside money, EJ. Like 15 million pounds just to.
How much did Lewis lose to get back in the day when they asked
6 million?
Six. But that was Tyson and Lewis, bro.
Yeah, but
near the draw.
Yeah, but you know this what Happentype. This is to secure the undisputed heavyweight champions of the world.
No, the only thing that makes sense to me, EJ, is if it's coming from the Saudis. They're the type of people who can throw around 15 million.
Oh, maybe. But you got we forgot Danny Kinningham, right? He's involved, isn't he?
Oh, yeah,
okay. There you go. That's it. The gangster, the one who keeps cleaning his money up. So
that's I never heard of no gangster fronting 15 million pounds.
Bro, you see how much money they earn? They sell arms to the bloody Middle East, man. Man, they money, bro.
Yeah, but when have they ever fronted 15 million pounds to a fighter? Tell me when they fronted 15 million pounds to a fighter for not fighting.
Listen.
I think 15 million pounds, bro, was AJ's guarantee. That was his guarantee against Usyk. Was 15 million pounds.
Let me break it down. So,
listen, Bob Arum is not giving that up. Trust me.
Frank, no, hold on.
Wait, hold on, guys.
Everyone's asking.
Real quickly. At least you want to say something, then AJ, you can come back.
Go ahead, I was going to say, Bob Arum is not giving that money up. He's a cheapskate. Everybody knows that.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So if you got 3 people involved, Danny Kinningham, Frank Warren, and Bob Arum. So each of them 15 mil. Everyone pays 5 mil. It's good. See, there you go.
That's why I was asking. That's why I was asking where the money's coming from. Now he said the Saudis. That makes some degree of sense, but 15 million pounds for step-aside money is unheard of, bro. I mean, AJ's guarantee in his last fight against Usyk was 15 million to fight, not to step aside.
Exactly. That's what it don't make no sense. That's what I but maybe he knows he can't beat him. I don't know.
Not to mention.
No,
maybe he just needs time. Maybe he just needs time to find a trainer and like really get in deep with that trainer and learn something from that trainer. Because if he's not there after one fight, it's going to be bad.
The fight's not going to be on U.S. soil. It's not going to be in the UK. It's going to be like on a remote fucking island somewhere, on a place. And it's like, is it worth it though? To throw away 15 by default, throw away 15 million by default.
It isn't worth it.
And then
the only thing that would make sense though is if the Saudis just want to throw that away just to get the fight there, so that for the prestige of it, that would make a little bit of sense. But even then, they're not stupid either. They're not trying to throw away 15 million pounds.
Yeah, but that's what I said. They divided. And also they got rematch clause. They got rematch clause involved in that. So AJ's out of the picture. He comes back whenever, and they have rematch clauses. So they have 2 fights.
Is there
so
a rematch clause? I haven't heard.
Yeah,
that.
of course they will, because AJ step. See, when you say you step aside, that means you're out the picture until whenever. That means these two can negotiate a rematch.
Usually, it means step aside for this fight, and then you get next.
Nah.
Consider the
you paid
source,
up, you out, man.
He's a Fury
man.
nut hugger. I don't believe that man.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, fair enough, Lisa. Fair enough. But that's why I say it's fair. It's fair that okay, we can talk about this now, and it's also fair to say that let Joshua and Hearn come out and knock the story down. I expect them to kind of retract, to come back and knock some of it down. But then again, they may say, well, it is true, but it is not true. I expect them to say that, So, but as of right now, it is skeptical because the way it's being worded. But going back to EJ's point, there are some signs, and I can't help to bring back the Dan Raphael quote. Dan Raphael said this about 3-4 weeks ago that, hey, this is still on the table, that these 2 guys, Joshua White, will step aside. Now you got Fury coming out going after Usyk, just like bizarrely going after him, talking about, I'm going to have to take care of this guy since you couldn't do that, Joshua. I'm going to take care of him. I'm going to fight this guy. I'm like,
Dan,
okay.
Okay, well, Dan, I have a question for you. All right, if he decides to take the step aside money, how do you view AJ, and do you view him any different, or does it make him look weak if he does?
No, it doesn't make him look weak. That's my opinion. Look, man, at the end of the day, a fighter's got to find ways to get better, okay? This is just my opinion. We can all agree to disagree. If he goes back in there against Usyk right now in the immediate rematch, he's going to lose that fight. He might get stopped this time. He's just not mentally ready for that fight.
He hasn't even picked a trainer yet.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. It's been 4 months, and we have yet to even get an announcement on when the rematch is going to take place. I found that a bit bizarre. Number one. Number two,
I think Hearn said something about April, though, didn't he, Dan?
Yeah, he did say that, but it hasn't been locked in.
That's too soon. That's too soon. I think AJ needs time with his new trainer to acclimate.
Right, exactly. And
Fury
you really think Usyk's aggressive enough to stop AJ? He's got enough power and he's aggressive enough?
I don't know.
But yeah,
shoot, I thought he came close in the first fight.
In the 12th round, it was kind of close there, yeah.
But
Fury. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Lisa. Go ahead.
I was gonna say Fury. I mean, he's always saying stuff, and I get it. That's part of his persona, or his character, or whatever. But he need to shut up. His big stinking fat ass. Because remember when his ass was gone, who had to pick up the pieces?
Wilder.
So he better record, huh?
Wilder picked him up.
No,
I was saying Wilder picked him up.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when he was gone, when AJ was picking up them titles. Okay. So he needs to fall back and have several seats.
Yeah, me personally, that's why I want Fury to lose, because I think Usyk could be the guy to do it. If Usyk beats Fury, I'm gonna laugh my ass off. I'm like, yeah, your punk ass is talking all that shit. You let this little guy beat you, humiliate you. Now what you gonna say? So I
can't wait for him, because I'm sick of him with his big mouth, and I'm just sick of him. He disgusts me.
What's better for Joshua, though, is if Fury wins, because I think he has a better chance against Fury than Usyk.
I was going to say that. I agree with that, because Fury doesn't move like Usyk, so he gets hit a lot. And he can be knocked down too.
Fury can move, no doubt about it, but Usyk's such a small target, and Fury, Fury's right there. It's easier to hit Fury.
Right.
Yeah, Otto Wallem done a good job in him. Otto Wallem's a southpaw, and he was pinning him up, man. Usyk could do the same, man. Usyk's faster, he's more confident, and he's more, he's more comfortable. He beat one of the top heavyweights, and now he's the champion. He's confident. He's all confidence. Now Fury, on the other hand, when he got hit by Wilder, you see his ankles fall out underneath him. You know what I mean? Him and Wilder went to war. You don't know what damage he picked up going in their fights with Wilder. I don't think he's the same, bro. Like, he might go on like he's the same.
Yeah, he ain't the same.
Yeah, when he gets clipped, bro, that big dude gets clipped. He going over. Look, you remember he goes over every single time against good opponents. He's gone over. Cunningham turned him over. This Otto Wallem put a beating on him. He's been picking up mileage, man. Usyk's gonna come and do a tap dance on him. That's why he starts. Why you think? Listen, a man's not worried. Why would you call a man a drug cheat when there's no evidence of that whatsoever? Why would you? And everyone knows you've been taking drugs. Like, why would you do that? If that's not nervousness, I don't know what to say.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
agree
my
with that.
issue with the boxing community. They come down on AJ for his chin, but all of them heavyweights have been knocked down. Okay? And I'm not
True.
talking about Joe, I'm just
Yeah.
talking about the boxing community in general. They can go suck some. Just sick of the fakeness.
Yeah, yeah, and look, to be fair, we all have our opinions on it, but let me just say this though. To EJ's point, though, yeah, I think, and I said this earlier too. I think that after that third Wilder fight, don't be surprised that Tyson Fury can't take a shot anymore. Don't be surprised. I'm just saying that right now because I think his punch resistance is not going to be the same after that third Wilder fight. To be fair, Wilder's not his punch resistance won't be the same either, but I just pointed it out for what it is. Tony Review says that I'm sorry, but if AJ takes a step aside, it's a duck. It was never a true champion. He just mentally broke it. I mean, look, I disagree. Look, we all we agree to disagree. I don't see it that way. I just think it's the right thing to do because right now, look, it'd be
I think
to
it's
me
a
just my
smart
opinion.
move, actually.
Yeah, it's a smart move.
It'd be a
Exactly.
smart
It's me.
move.
It's my opinion. It's our opinion. You know, we all have differences of opinion. I think he needs to step back a little bit and learn and get acclimated with the new trainer, so that way he can get his confidence again.
What we doing? What we doing? We babying people out here. Listen, let me tell you something. It is what it is. But Lisa bring up a big point. Fury's never been labeled a weak chin, but AJ has. But you see how Bob Arum and Frank Warren, the UK over there and in America, they're strong. Their media is strong with Steve Kim and Paulie Malignaggi. They can put certain things out and it will stick. But with AJ, it sticks and AJ. But no one's labeling Fury as a bad chin. You're right. But in the long scheme of things, Ali, Mike Tyson, all them great shit. AJ was repeatedly banging the drum. It's all about undisputed. We all bought onto it. So if you're vacating the belt, so what's going on there? So if people want to say he's mentally weak for that, in terms of boxing,
He's not vacating.
but
He lost the belts.
Nah, but if he was to take the money, remember most people in general don't think like fighters. Like we earn, so you look how long it took you long to get the belts, right? And you say I want to get undisputed, but most people have got a fight mentality. A fight mentality is like, bro, I'm not giving up shit. No, but if you lose, you're gonna lose more money. This, that, the other. Most people don't think like. But if you're thinking on a business thing, like, nah, well, I'll get 50 mil. I'll get another shot later on. That's what you think. You know what I mean? That's what you think, yeah. Because I know for a fact Frank Oren and Bob Arum, they're too smart. They're smarter than Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn's a pup at the game. They're gonna make him AJ sweat. And we'll think about this, right? He has a mega fight with Usyk, and then let's say he outsells AJ in London, in England. Like no one's thinking that was crazy, but that's a possibility. And all of a sudden he's drawing the stadium crowds now. And AJ what? You know what I mean? Because the bad taste in everyone's mouth how AJ lost. Real talk, and he's
I agree. I think AJ's gonna get ridiculed if he step aside.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What they do. This is
it don't matter what AJ do, he gets ridiculed.
You're right.
He didn't get knocked out. He didn't get knocked out in the Usyk fight. Wilder did. He gets more credit. You get what I'm saying? People are against him, and it's been from day one. And I peeped it, and that's why I ride with him.
Opponents, sweetie. Those were two different opponents.
No.
Like
this has been going on for a while.
Right,
no,
but nobody was expecting Usyk to knock out AJ. Like,
he didn't knock him out.
I know. Nobody was expecting.
No, what I'm saying is I'm talking about comparisons.
Okay.
Me personally, I think he's been blackballed or what's the word? Freezing out from the top. You know what I'm trying to say?
I don't think he's freezing out because it's hard to say that, Lisa, because he's still the top draw in the heavyweight division. So I wouldn't go far to say that. But I mean, to your point though, he has been criticized of whatever, no matter what he does. That is true. I mean, all our fighters, all the heavyweights have been criticized no matter what they do. This is just the way it is. That's just boxing. You know, no matter how good the guy is, I mean, how good of an image that he puts up, he's gonna get criticized no matter what. Hell, Oscar De La Hoya has been criticized, and he was a good guy for many years, right? He been criticized. Ray Leonard, all these guys. Ali, I mean, he was a villain, obviously. He had reasons
with the territory, right?
Yeah, it comes with the territory.
Right?
Ray Robinson, all these
the way
guys.
they get paid, that's a cross you have to bear. But I understand.
BG London, I totally disagree with you, because Wilder has a built-in fan base right here on YouTube. Does AJ have that? I doubt it.
Well,
he's got more. AJ has more.
Wilder got a lot of hate too. Let's be real. I mean, to be fair, though, some of the criticisms.
Yes, he did.
AJ's got Rafi Dawkins, man. AJ's got Rafi Dawkins. Rafi Dawkins is organization. Rafi Dawkins are back in, man. You know what I'm saying?
It's not about that. It's about sometimes what's right.
Yeah, look. Let me.
And what's wrong?
Well, look, let me just say this. Both fighters, do they deserve criticism? I'm not saying that they deserve criticism on the same level, no, but sometimes
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
there was reasons that AJ deserves some criticism. That is true. But if it's constructive, so be it. Nothing wrong with that. Same thing with Wilder. But the one thing I did say, one thing I would say is, though, I think both fighters have been overly criticized. They both did. You say what you will about Wilder. Yes, he did say some stupid shit. Yeah, he does dumb things. But at the same time, I think he's been overly criticized. I thought, okay, the
Yo,
criticism.
Fury
Yeah, I
could call a
agree. I
man
agree.
Fury could call a man a drug thing, and everyone just lets it go. If the AJ did that,
Yeah, I was gonna
they
say
would have
something
killed
about that.
AJ. There's
Yeah.
a double standard. There's a double standard. And Fury's got a mouth for the ages. Yeah, AJ's corporate. You know, he says the right things, tries it. And people say, oh, he's weak and this and that. So there is a double standard. But these guys fight for a living. So we're gonna perceive in their personalities who they are. But all we can go is by their actions. AJ said he was undisputed. In this situation, I mean, it's not concrete. We don't know. Gareth Davis he does protect. He's a Tyson Fury guy. And if that is going down, I'm disappointed. But in the day, it's not about the short race, it's about the long race. So in the day, if AJ comes back and beats everyone, all this stuff doesn't matter. You know what I mean? When
Listen,
they over, it don't
no,
matter. It doesn't
listen,
rise.
AJ. What Fury has is the American machine behind him,
Yeah.
and
He has
that's
that too.
ESPN.
Is that the same American machine was Brown Terrence Crawford saying he don't sell? Is that the same
Right.
one?
That's a good point. That's a good point. Man.
That's
Yes,
the American
but
machine. When they're ready, they'll throw you off the bus when they're ready.
this is what I was saying to you. No, I was saying, like, I think that Bob Arum is worse than
Well,
Eddie
can I
Hearn. I
respond to
don't
this?
know Eddie Hearn personally, but
I was upset.
Yeah,
I was
no,
upset.
AJ,
I was
hold on real
upset.
quick.
I
Let
was
me
upset.
respond to this
All right.
response by Lady Chan real quickly. Lady Chan says that Wilder accused everyone of cheating and Fury slanders Usyk, but not one shred of proof. But that's okay. Yeah, like I said though, you're right though. Fury gets away with a lot of shit. That's why I had a conversation about this a couple days ago. That the whole the whole UCAT situation, him paying off a bribe to get him off that UCAT case, no one brings that up, and I think Fury and his team will pretty much kind of censor that and silence anyone who brings that up, right? And he gets away with all that stuff. I get what you're saying because there is a double standard there. If Fury can get away with all that, it's slander. And Wilder, gets accused of everyone cheating. And to be fair, Wilder didn't get away with that. A lot of people ridiculed him for that. And
they barbecued Wilder for that.
Yeah, he got barbecued for that. But my point is that Wilder, going back to Wilder, Joshua, I'm just saying that both fighters got overly criticized. Fury, on the other hand, it's like you can't, he does get criticized. Does he get overly criticized?
Mud don't stick. Mud don't stick though, innit? It don't stick on him.
It doesn't stick on him. That's my point.
In other words, nobody believed Wilder. Nobody believed. Besides, the people that were pushing it. Nobody, but everybody. I mean, Fury's allowed to say whatever he wants.
Yeah.
So I get what EJ is saying. He has
and that's why he don't want to fight. That's why he don't want to fight Dillon.
Though, EJ, why is that though?
Because Fury, he's he look, I don't want to get too deep, bro. He got the.
I just threw you an alley oop. You got to catch it and slam dunk.
Nah, but you know what? He got the protection. He got the protection for the complexion, baby. That's what it is, baby. Hey, listen. I'm just saying. But you know the thing is, Dillon. That's why he don't want to fight Dillon, because Dillon would dig up all that stuff, man. Dillon don't care. That's why he don't want to fight Dillon, because he fight Dillon on the press conference. Dillon's gonna dig up all that drug stuff and do all that stuff. Because with Fury, it's a mental game, and Fury right now, he's doing. Look, Vladimir. Listen how much, right? When Fury said that stuff about Usyk, you see Vladimir, the dust off his robes and came out on Twitter. I was like, whoa. You see, he's upsetting the whole country of the Ukraine. I said, yo, you better mind they don't come over there and do you like Conor McGregor, like Khabib, come over and get you in a headlock. I'm telling you, bro, don't upset them Ukraine. They're crazy, man. They're crazy. So if let Fury continue doing chatting his shit, eventually, you're gonna find what you're looking for. I'm telling you, because AJ been respectful and doesn't do that. So at least at the end of the day, like, karma always comes back to the people. So at the minute, it does seem like it's unfair, but in the long run, when we have to look back in retrospect, like Dillon White and AJ, brother, chat shit, get banged, yeah. End of the day, AJ always catches up with you. AJ, look at Big Baby. He was on it about AJ's mum. AJ rolled up and started saying his mum. So AJ always gets the last laugh. So maybe AJ's trying to outsmart everyone, and he's gonna come back and regain the heavyweight championship of the world. So
he'll get he'll get his title. He'll get champion again. I believe that. But to me, like I said though, it's just my opinion. I think he just needs to step little bit and get acclimated with the new style, with the new trainer. This is what Lennox Lewis did. Let's not forget that. Let me bring up Lennox Lewis. Let me bring up Lennox Lewis real quickly. When Lennox Lewis got knocked out by Oliver McCall, right? He got knocked out, right? He wanted
With
to
the
get
Emmanuel Stewart.
Yeah. Guess who trained Oliver McCall for that fight? Did, right?
Emmanuel Stewart.
Yeah, right. So when Lewis got knocked out, he wanted to rematch McCall right away. But when he went, and I guess after that fight, McCall and Lewis had some differences, and that's why McCall dropped him as a trainer. So he got Emmanuel Stewart instead of Lennox Lewis. So he decided to snatch up Emmanuel Stewart. Emmanuel Stewart advised him, say, you know what? I'll train you, but on the condition that you don't go into the McCall rematch right away. And Lewis was like, why? Because you're not ready for it. And lo and behold, when Lewis fought Lando Butner in his comeback fight, when he fought Justin Fortune and those guys, you could tell in those two fights, and even Tommy Morrison fight, you could tell that Lennox Lewis wasn't quite ready because he was still haunted by that knockout loss by McCall, the way he was fighting. So it was not until when he fought Ray Mercer a year later, and that was a damn good fight.
That fight could have went either way. Like you could watch.
That
like,
was one of the best heavyweight fights I've seen, and nobody talks about it.
Yeah,
but
you could get that fight.
I thought Ray Mercer won it. It was a close fight.
Yeah.
But the point is that Lennox Lewis had enough fill-in fights in between to get his confidence back. And then next thing you know, he rematched Paul 2 years later. I know it was a bizarre fight, but he won it. So my point is that thing too. Step back, take a two or three tune-up fights in, so that way you can get your confidence again, and then you'll be a much
Lewis got knocked out, man. AJ never got
like,
knocked out, man.
Three tune-ups? Are you crazy?
Not three tune-ups.
Hey, listen. AJ's worth a lot of money, man. AJ's worth a lot of money.
He's got the best resume out of all of them. What the fuck he need tune-ups for?
That's fine.
I know, man.
Well, I don't mean tune-ups, but he needs some confidence level fights. See, that's my point. Lennox Lewis had like 2 years, and look what Lennox Lewis did after that Oliver McCall loss. Look what he did. Lennox started to dominate with a different style. He ran through everybody in that division. Everybody.
Yeah, he had the right trainer.
It takes a minute to get used to a new trainer. That's the thing. If you really want to benefit
how many
from the new
fights?
trainer,
How many fights have?
I'd say even one would be good. But if he jumps right back in with Usyk and a new trainer, he's going to lose.
Yeah, but
how can you be definite though? How y'all everybody?
I know. Tell him. There's nothing certain.
He'll be confused, man.
And the thing is, he needs to fight a southpaw. If you're gonna see the thing, you guys talk about fight, but if you're specifically trying to get ready for Usyk, right? Then you need to fight a next fight against a southpaw to help you get ready for that style. And you need to bring that sparring in. And there's a whole heap of things that he needs to do. Then you're dealing with his shoulder problems. And he got money. It's like, yo, wow, I won't surprise if AJ retires, man. Say, you know what? I can't.
Who got a shoulder problem?
AJ got a shoulder problem, man. He got a shoulder problem.
I didn't know.
He had a shoulder problem. Talk about in the Usyk fight. He was injured. Couldn't barely throw that punch, man. That's why he's right.
Oh,
he's right.
Yeah,
man. See what I'm trying to say? You guys this is what I'm trying to say. The boxing is a young man's sport. They all change the narrative.
Because he said, I was going to say, AJ, that's kind of contradictory by AJ because he said he was 100% going into that fight. Now he's
they always did. They have to sell the fight. They always do that, man. Like Gary Russell. Didn't Gary Russell said the same thing, right?
He never put that out. Somebody leaked that. I remember that. It was leaked out.
So, Lisa, what you're saying is that he never made the excuses, right? That's what you're saying?
No,
someone else.
Somebody else put it out there. Irregardless, I think he should fight more southpaws. I agree. But
hold up, guys. Lady Chan kind of cleared it up. There's actually a bicep injury, so yeah, she's correct on that. But she also says that you could train with a new trainer without taking tune-ups. I mean, it's possible, but that's
not about tune-ups to me. It's about time with that new trainer. Right. Like, if he had till the summer and with no tune-ups till the summer, like the middle of the summer, like he'd have enough time to learn, that new trainer's style. But the way they're talking, the whatever fight's going to happen like April, May, in that area. I think that's too soon with the new trainer to get acclimated to that new style. And AJ also, he seems to have a confidence issue because he won't even pick a new trainer right now. Like, I think he's deliberating, and I think he'd be wise to, if they're offering 15 million pounds for him to do nothing and just train with a new trainer, why not take it? That was his guarantee against Usyk, 15 million. So like it'd be dumb of him if they're really offering that much money.
All right,
not to
look,
take it.
But look, bro, look, this is not just you, happens to everyone. Because somebody earlier said that Wilder, that AJ will for sure be a champion again. Like this is the heavyweight division. We do not know that. Like
See?
there's,
I never said that, bro.
No, I know that's what I said. Somebody on the panel said that. Somebody on the panel. That might have been. Was that you, Dan? You said that for sure that he was going to be a heavy.
It don't matter. Yeah, someone did say that, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, but like, I mean, are y'all sure about that?
No, no. That's why. So
if I'm AJ, bro, just like Wilder had like times not on his side. I know AJ's a little bit younger, but there's a reason why Wilder's like, fuck that. I'm gonna fight Fury again. I'm not taking step aside money. I don't think AJ should either, because you never know, bro. Like the heavyweight division is not like other divisions. In the heavyweight division, if you're lucky enough to get the crown, it's your job to keep it. Because if you get it snatched off, there's not a chance that you can get it back again. Now, I understand that he has, that he's got a guy with like an endless amount of money, like, you know what I'm saying, that could support him or whatever, that could throw money around like Eddie Hearn. Yeah. So he probably could get another title shot, but I just don't think there's any guarantees, especially with everything that's going on.
There's no guarantees, but as you guys alluded to his age, he's still young. Yeah, that's true. He's still young. And again, he's at the same, essentially the same age as Lennox Lewis was when Lennox Lewis took that loss to McCall. Literally the same age.
So, Lewis is more experienced, man. Lewis had more experience, man. He already had two Olympics on his back. Already went to the gold. He went to the gold medal twice, and they beat Riddick Bowe. Then he came. He had more experience, man, and that's what we're talking about. Eliz. Another thing as well, changing trainer is going to be. He should have the age ago. Because Rob McCracken ain't got no confidence. That man ain't got no confidence in AJ. How that man vacated AJ is still. I don't understand. You got one of the most lucrative guys in boxing, and you're like, bro, I'd rather go train the amateurs. I'm like, my God, man. I'm like, show. I'm like, this man ain't got no loyalty. AJ needs someone who's in his back, who's backing him, bro. I would have said Floyd Mayweather Senior, because he's all confidence. You know what I mean? Someone like him who breeds confidence and talks to you and makes you believe. At the end of the day, he's got a very good record. Like running shows and them guys they got. I need, when it comes to percentage of winning, I need someone with a high percentage of winning and a high percentage of confidence. Running shows and all them other guys, they're like so trainers.
So this is AJ's career, and if he has to run it the way he chooses to,
right?
You know, he hasn't gotten to where he's gotten just by osmosis. I don't know. Maybe he wants to do things different, but you know, hopefully he'll get a good trainer, someone with experience.
So how about this, Lisa? I'm gonna ask you first, sister. Well, everybody that's listening and everybody on the panel, everyone in the chat, who would be without a doubt the definite fucking trainer that y'all want to see this dude with?
I would say Mr. Bashir, because he's already trained Usyk.
Yeah.
Or I like Ronnie Shields. I like Ronnie Shields as well. But Bashir knows Usyk.
What about anyone else? Like anyone?
I got a couple. Flame Mayweather Senior. No. I got a couple because I got a couple, and I can tell you why. I got a couple. Bomac and Down Terrace Crawford. He go down to Nebraska with them boys there. And because they I go with listen. No. Listen, reason why I pick these trainers is because they're winning right now. Winning is very important. Like when you go into their camp, they have a certain air of confidence, right? Then another guy I like is Kevin Cunningham. I like Kevin Cunningham as well. I always think Kevin Cunningham is down to earth, and his good defense. He's a very good teacher. So I go with them guys. They're current who can run in shows, and them guys they're like make fit. Like everyone goes with them kind of guys because they're easy to get. You can fit them in, but you know they're just there in the thing. I'm talking about like trainers to make you better than what you are. Now can Cunningham do that? Maybe. Floyd Mayweather Senior, bro. I like Floyd Mayweather Senior. I like his confidence. I like him coming, make AJ learn new things.
He's too old.
Nah, bro. They don't need to listen, bro. Trainers don't have to be there, bro. Always doing pads. It's what they say and how they're around you. Someone's got the door, right? And then the other one is the other one. The other one is Bomac and Terrace Crawford's team, because they have three different trainers. And they all teach you different things, and I think the knowledge, just being around one of the pound for pound greats, that's a great system. That's my trainers. Go ahead.
I like Bomac too.
Yeah, I like someone who's going to be a little tough on AJ, like Joe Goosen.
It's like
Yeah,
somebody that's
Joe
gonna
is
yell at him,
good.
right, Haplo? Like somebody's
Yeah,
gonna yell
somebody's
at
gonna
him.
like,
And,
yeah,
Someone's
somebody's
gonna
gonna
be
tell him, hey man, you
tough
fucking
on
up,
him,
bro.
and also help build his confidence. And then for like a game plan against Usyk, I think to bring in someone like a George Foreman just on the game plan side would be cool. But I think Joe Goosen would be a hell of a trainer for AJ. But I don't even think he's considering that guy.
But would you say that? Okay, I get it. So he's more of the motivation guy, but George Foreman would be the game plan guy and like kind of like that type of guy.
Yeah, because I think he needs to bully Usyk. That's really his only chance. He's got the size. He needs to use his advantages.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the chick,
me,
Dan. Who do you think, Dan?
I think James Ali Bashir would be a good pick. Maybe Buddy McGirt. I'll go far and say Buddy McGirt because Buddy McGirt can actually, he's good at, look, say what you want about Buddy McGirt, but he has a good track record of revitalizing certain guys' careers. Look at Sergey Kovalev, look at Arturo Gatti. Rest in peace. Buddy McGirt will tell you when you're fucking up and when you're doing what you're doing good and what you're doing wrong, you know, what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong. He's not gonna hold back. He's gonna let you know, look, you're fucking up, man. I'm letting you know right now. You better go out there and win this fucking fight. That's what he told Kovalev when when Kovalev took the beat against Anthony Yarde in that 8th round, I believe. And he told Kovalev, look, if you take another beating like that in that round, I'm stopping the fight. So you better go out there and fight this man right now. That's the type of urgency that Buddy McGirt will put in you.
But the question is, can AJ handle that type of like aggression in the corner every round by round? Someone in his ear yelling at him, trying to toughen him up. Like, can AJ really handle that, or will he break down crying? Will he ball into the fetal position?
That's right. That's right.
Whoa, what are y'all talking about? Whoever saw him break down crying?
Nah, some of them
I'm just asking,
abusive.
like, because
he's trying to say the trainers are abusive.
He's a 6'6" man. He's a 6'6" man, multi-millionaire, and take care of his family. He's a man.
Hold up. See, hold up, Lisa. Hold up. I think C's was he was mentioning that in a figure of speech. He doesn't mean literally crying. He just say, hey, can he take that type of mental pressure and being told, hey, you're fucking up. You need to go out there and win. Bullshit.
Slapped it on the face. Yeah, slapped on the face and then thing there. That's because some trainers are abusive, is what he's trying to say. And he's trying to say, can AJ, your American trainers are abusive, man. They are abusive.
Emmanuel Stewart bitch slapped somebody one time in a corner.
Yeah.
Well, look at Tito
That's
Trinidad's
what he
father.
needs.
Hey, look at Tito Trinidad's father, Felix Trinidad.
Oh yeah, he was hard on Tito.
I remember him.
In the corner all the time, telling me you're fucking up.
That's what he need. He don't need to be telling you doing good, you're doing good, and you messing up. You need to be.
That was driving me crazy.
That's what they did. That's what they did to AJ.
That's what they did to AJ. Brilliant, AJ. They were
AJ in his last fight. They were saying AJ in his last fight. They were saying, "Yeah, you're doing great. You're doing wonderful." Yo, listen to this, bro. If you hear this, the guy in the corner. I don't know who he was. He was saying, "Yo, you're doing marvelous."
That was annoying as hell.
Yeah, it was, isn't it? I was like, "Damn, yo, get rid of that. Hang on, man. Come on, they need to go."
Yeah, there's nothing worse than a trainer telling a fighter that he's winning when he's clearly losing, bro. Like, and that's the shit I don't like. You know, sometimes they're yes men, but you don't want to train. You don't want your lead trainer to be a yes man. Like,
yeah, I think part of the reason why I think this is the problem with both Joshua Wilder having so many yes men. The same thing with Fury. They all have these yes men in their corner. They're just afraid. Except for Sugar Hill. I'll be fair though. Sugar Hill's not going to be afraid to tell you when you're fucking up. When you know he's not afraid to do that. But it's like some of these guys, like going to Joshua and Wilder's corners, particularly Joshua, I would say, it's like they're afraid to tell him that what he's doing wrong because they don't want to compromise that paycheck. They want to stay. They still want to get paid. That's part of the reason why they're telling him these things. Oh, you're doing good, even though they know he's not doing good. And that's something you don't need. Is Anthony Joshua's like, no, man, I don't need you guys to give me praises. Let me know that I'm fucking up. I know sometimes I can't think for myself. I'm not saying that in a bad way, but you got to let me know what I need to do. I'm fucking up. Tell me I'm fucking up. Don't hold it back. If I get mad about it, so what? At least you're telling the truth. You know?
Right.
Yeah, I think somebody.
I just think people just need he's soft, and I really don't think that. I just think that people.
Well, I mean, I didn't call him soft. That wasn't me. I didn't.
No.
But Dan, I think not only with the cheerleading, but the game plan was so dumb, dude. Stand in the middle of the ring and pivot and let Usyk dance all around you, and just stand there and turn. That was a dumb game plan.
But Hap, maybe he was trying to go the distance. That's probably why he was trying to conserve his energy or some shit, right? Like me personally, if I had those type of advantages, you got to knock him out. You got to try to knock out Usyk, right? Because
I don't know what BG talking about.
Yeah, He's like, look, stepping aside with the media rematches and then the world. I mean, look, BG has a point. It's not the end of the world. He's still got a career. But look, I understand you guys' concerns. If he step aside, he may not get another title shot for a long while. But why not? Again,
But bro,
why
doesn't he just negotiate it where he gets next? If he steps aside, he gets next. That's what I would want.
That's true.
Step aside,
Right. It's not the end of the world. He's going to get a title shot either way.
Yeah, next could be next could be after them two have another 2 rematches. And make sure they make sure and then they both retire.
Except from you, EJ. I haven't heard anybody say that there's a rematch clause, but I mean, there very well could be. But
I reckon it would be.
I think
because
there would be. I think there will be.
Money,
if I was AJ, I wouldn't do. I wouldn't do Fury no
the
favors. He didn't do him any.
The next fight,
fuck Fury
for undisputed.
Well, also,
when you undisputed. They can do when they undisputed. You think that both sides when because AJ step aside, he got his money right. So you out the picture. They step these two go in. You're gonna get next in line after we've had like 3 fights each other, and after that then we can you fight us after that. In the meantime, AJ gonna have to fight. Then AJ's gonna have to fight waiting for them, and then he whether he wins or loses. This is what the game's about. This is a game of chess, man. I'm telling you, bro. You get locked out.
We're speculating though, because it could be.
I know. We are.
I don't trust that slippery eel.
It could be the deal is that if AJ steps aside, he gets next, the next fight. Because then if he doesn't, they're gonna have to pay him step aside money for the rematch too. No.
No.
AJ's proven. AJ
I don't trust nothing.
If AJ took one, he'll take another. Hey, appetite. If he took one, he'll take another one. That's all right. AJ take another one.
I'll take 30 million pounds for free. Fuck it.
Right, but hold up. But boxing's but boxing's a pride sport. And AJ has tons of money already. He's
in your head, this prize sport. Like in our heads, not your head, sorry. Our heads is a prize sport. In our heads, we earn the right to get to the belt. No way could we give it up. No way could we conceive that. Because our champion
AJ's a self-aware fighter. Like he's very sensitive. He's a self-aware fighter. He knows that he's gonna get ridiculed if he does this. But in England,
AJ does no wrong, bro. It don't matter. AJ
why would he get ridiculed?
That's what in England does no wrong. AJ got no wrong, bro.
Let me just say this.
No, in England,
guys, hold up. Can I say something real quickly? Yeah, let me say something real quickly, AJ. To C's, I see what you're saying, but AJ is kind of like in a lose-lose situation because even if he takes the rematch and he has some self-doubt that he's going to lose it, he's still going to get ridiculed either way. So maybe Eddie Hearn is telling him that it's like, well, either way it goes, you're still going to lose to this guy. I don't think you're going to beat him. So why don't you step back a little bit? Yes, you're going to get ridiculed. It's still a less severe situation than you not taking the fight. Step back. People are going to still watch you fight anyway. Step back, regroup, and get acclimated with a new style, with a new trainer. Then you go back in there, Usyk. All right, you still got a young career. You still got a long career ahead of you. It's not the end of the world for you.
Right.
So
I mean, but like I said, it's the heavyweight division. There's young fighters coming up, like up and coming fighters like Jared Anderson. Another thing, but we don't know. We don't know how long this shit could be extended. Like someone said earlier, like we don't know.
I don't want to see AJ begging for the belts, man. AJ begging,
that's what I'm saying. Like please, Fury, don't have another fight.
I want to see AJ on the media every minute. I want my belts back. When you gonna give me a shot? I don't want to see AJ begging for the belts, man.
Because we've seen Fury do that. We've seen Fury do that. We've seen Fury threaten to either A, throw the belts away, or B, like, I'm not just gonna fight this guy. He can have the belts. I'm not fighting him. I'll just keep the Ring Magazine title. We've seen Fury throw every bullshit excuse. But not just that. But keep in mind that Bob Arum is on record saying that he does not like rematches. He don't like rematch clauses.
There you go.
This is what Bob said. So like I said, there's a lot going on. And if I was AJ, which I'm not, then I would be filthy rich. I probably would retire. But if I was AJ, knowing who I was and knowing all the money I generate, no matter who I fight, but knowing that I have pride and I'm self-aware and people ridicule me and question my heart and question my integrity and honor, if I'm fucking AJ, I'm not stepping aside. I'm taking this fucking fight. I'm taking this fight.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Right. If you know they love you anyway on your side and you're the big money generator on your side and you're the X factor, take the fight. Even if you fucking lose, you can still have a fucking long career and you still have the biggest fights. Because nobody coming to see Usyk. Tyson Fury doesn't sell like that. AJ's still the big money man. So he still should be dictated and based off him, man.
Let's not forget that AJ could take a fight in between and make a lot of money on that. So he's getting 15 million.
Yeah, you see what they're trying to do. They're trying to make Fury, but they're trying to make Fury
fight. Then he can fight. Who knows who? He could fight Dillon White and make another 15 million pounds while he's
Yeah, I
waiting.
got you.
But what
Yeah,
if
but
the
you see what they're
Usyk
trying to do?
Fury
They're trying to
has
make Fury.
rematches? Like, what is it? Like,
Yeah,
what
they're
if
trying to
he
make
has-
Fury parity. That's the whole. This is what I'm trying to say. The end game is trying to make Fury like AJ and make him that guy. That's what Bob Iron Frank
Mm-hmm.
want to do. They want to make
Yeah.
him like that to diminish AJ and to make him
Mm-hmm.
squirm. That's what this is all about, man. That's what I'm saying. They've
And
been
that's
doing it from
why,
the start. The
and
game
that's
plan
why
was
I can't
starting when they made
understand why
AJ.
people.
That's why he came to America.
That's
Wait, hold up,
why I
guys. Hold
can't
up, guys.
exactly. That's
Wait,
why
hold
I
up,
can't
guys.
understand why people back up his sucker shit.
Mhm.
Wait, hold up, Lisa. Let EJ finish his point. You can come back in. Go ahead, EJ. Finish up.
No, I'm trying to say the game
EJ.
plan was done, yeah. When Eddie Hearn came
Yeah.
over to America and he was talking about we're gonna run them old promoters out of the business and we do that. And they said, yeah, I never see Bob Iron and Frank went
Oh
up
yeah,
until
that
now.
was a
They
red
used to
flag.
meet, but they weren't friends. They became good friends because they knew they were on the way out. They said, before we lie in our bed, we're gonna piss on Eddie Hearn. And that's what they did. They dragged that out. They dragged it out and they made sure that he was going to fight Usyk. And that day, I saw that face here because there was a press conference. They were so calm and serene. You know what I mean? Frank was saying, send me some money. They knew all along, yeah, that AJ was never going to fight Fury. They dragged it along. They said, look, this is how we're going to work out. We're going to drag him along. We're going to make sure that we're going to make sure he has to fight Usyk. They're gonna make sure, because remember the WBO, yeah, it was the WBO he fought for, right? That Frank Warren has the WBO in his pocket, so they made sure all he goes drag AJ along long enough that he goes over the deadline. Usyk not gonna take the step aside money, so AJ has to fight him, and they cornered him into that situation. That's why Eddie Hearn was like, damn, oh, he's not taking the step aside, damn. Or we might have to fight him. And it's like, okay, we fight him. Now you're in another position. They're way ahead of him. Now there's like, okay, we give him some money. If they shut AJ out, AJ be a position where you see AJ walking around, they won't let me fight for my titles no more. And Eddie was like, well, there's nothing I can do. You know what I mean? It was right there. Like, you know what I mean? Fight for your titles, man. If he loses, he loses. I don't want to see this bullshit, man. And then, you know what? I was disappointed to hear this news already. That's just me in it. Like, these guys, these old codgers are too smart for Eddie Hearn in this position. Like, they've been doing it.
That's
Yeah,
why
they're too
AJ
smart.
better not step a fucking side, bro. He because you don't know what they have in store for this dude, bro. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. It could be some Game of Thrones shit where they continue to ice him out, to freeze him out.
That's what I said.
Right? So
That's what I said earlier, C's.
like Lady Chan
I said he's
in the
been
chat,
frozen out. Him and
Right,
Dillon.
I
I'm
agree
just
with
looking
Lady
at
Chan. Like that.
I'm looking at the chessboard.
Yeah.
And it was done with Deontay Wilder. That's when it started.
Because think about it like this.
Deontay Wilder and AJ should have had fought.
Yeah, they should have been fought.
Yeah,
they
that's
should have
it.
had
Yeah.
fought
Right.
before this
Yeah.
came about.
Right.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah,
That's
like
right.
I
They
said,
should have
though,
fought
both
already.
those guys, both of Joshua Wilder's side. Look, this is just me. I'm just playing it down the middle on this one. I think both sides screwed that fight up. Even AJ.
So 50-50?
We didn't like
50-50?
Yeah. Yeah, so AJ said he gave an interview with Breakfast Club with, Charlamagne the God and those guys, Andrew Lee. He said, look, it take two people to make the fight. He wanted to fight, I wanted to fight. There were some terms he didn't want, and there were some terms I didn't want. So we both didn't take the fight. So you got to blame both of us why that fight didn't happen. So I respect AJ for saying that, and I've been saying that all along. I said, look, it takes two people to fight. And the fact is that you got a guy out there who said it himself that, look, it was you blame Wilder and blame me for why we didn't fight each other. Plain and simple. So I think they both were stringing things along. They were both trying to milk the situation. And I felt, and at the time I said, you know what? I felt that, this is a dangerous situation you're doing, because this is not the smaller weights where you have a bigger pool of fighters where you could choose from weight classes and could draw out the process like Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather did. In some cases like Sugar Ray Leonard and like, the fact is the heavyweights, it's not a big pool, and anything can happen with one big punch in that division. And I was very fearful about that. I was like, look, these guys need to fight sooner than later, because if one of these guys take a loss, that's it. Fortunately, AJ took that first loss, then Wilder followed up right after that. Then AJ lost again, and then Wilder lost again. So it's like they should have took.
So it's gone. The fight doesn't have that same shine that it once did, like it once did.
It doesn't have that same. Yeah, it doesn't have that same.
Over.
Right. Yeah, that doesn't have that high interest like it used to be. It's still a big fight. Don't get me. These guys are not in their. Let's be honest. These guys are not in their prime anymore. So it's like. I mean,
it was definitely bigger when they were both
undefeated
champions than it is now.
Right.
Neither is a champion.
Right.
And they both lost. So it's not the same as it once was.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that AJ is worth so much. Like AJ is worth so much, bro. Like for him to step
Hold on,
aside,
hold on.
he's
AJ
basically
did.
he's giving away a lot, bro. He's giving away everything.
Yeah,
I don't think
AJ
Giving away,
so. I think
he's giving away
gaining
his
a lot.
power. He's giving
Yeah,
away his juice. He's about to give his juice. If he
yeah.
step aside,
Well,
He's
let me just
he's
getting
say
giving his
this.
juice to
15 million
Fury-Usyk.
Yeah, hold
pounds.
up,
If
guys.
that's
Hold up, guys. Hold
real,
up. I
bro,
gotta.
I would take it if I were
Yeah,
him.
well, yeah, but hey, let me just say this, Lady Chan. I get you, but AJ said himself that he also turned down an offer to fight Wilder too. He said that on the Breakfast Club interview. I'll post a link to that interview. You want to look at it? He said it himself.
Listen,
So
listen.
I'm just saying. I'm just keeping it
This was
real.
all about money because the
Yeah,
first offer, Wilder said it was slave wages, if you
right.
remember. And then
Yeah, and I.
it was because see, I felt this is just what I felt. And I'm trying not to get into the monies because I could care less about it because it's not my money. Um,
Yeah.
I
Well, hold on.
felt
Let me.
that
Can I
I
respond to
felt
this, Lisa? Oh no,
go
sorry. Go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish up, and I'm gonna respond to this. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it should have, he should have did. I know that AJ wasn't on a De La Hoya level, but what I'm saying is, go in and beat the man if you
Yeah.
think you can, and become the man, and then you become the cash cow. That's how I thought it was always, but I guess the times have changed. You know what I'm saying? Like the way
Yeah.
Floyd did it. He went in there and beat. You knew that this guy had more belts, and you knew that this guy
Yeah.
uh was doing stadiums or whatever. So, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look. I mean, it is what it is. Both fighters, it just the fight doesn't have that luster like it used to be anymore. But Lady Chan says that AJ is in his prime. He's just turned 32. Wilder's out of his prime. He turns 36. What are you talking about, Dan? Well, okay. Let me break up a fighter, for example. Fernando Vargas. Do you know how old Fernando Vargas was when he fought Felix Trinidad?
Like 21 or 22.
Yeah, Fernando was 23 years old, 22 years old when he fought Felix Trinidad. What happened to Fernando Vargas after that fight?
He fell off the
Obviously,
map. Yeah.
He was never the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now he still
exactly.
He
had
had
a big
like a
fight with
he
De
had
La
a
Hoya.
he
He
had a
still had a big fight
serious
with De La Hoya.
he had a serious back injury too.
Yeah, injuries and the beating he took from Trinidad. Vargas was never the same fighter, and he was a young fighter at the time. And some people argue that his career was rushed. And same thing with AJ in this situation to some extent. But even though AJ has been more successful for Fernando, I'll give him that. But the point is that he's always been taking a lot. He's been taking tough fights already early in his career. He's been taking some punishment, a lot of it. The same thing with Fernando. Fernando was taking some punishment before the Trinidad fight. Look how many shots he took against Ike Corte. The shots he took against Winky Wright, and I felt Winky won that fight in my view. But anyway, who else was there? Yeah, so those is
The De La Hoya
those
fight.
he was taking in the De La Hoya fight. Well, he lost. He was out of his prime after the Trinidad fight. He fought De La Hoya after Trinidad.
Right.
The time he was barely.
He was on steroids too. I
retired.
think he popped for steroids in that fight.
Yeah, he popped for steroids after the fight, and he lost still. But my point is that Fernando retired. Fernando retired at the age of 29 years old. He retired before he was 30. He retired
because of that
30,
beating he took early, right, in his career. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the beatings he was taking early in his career, in his young career. So, yeah, just because you're 32 doesn't mean you're out of your prime. AJ is clearly not the same fighter like he used to be. That's just a fact.
Because wait, hold up, but see, one thing is like there's this stigma on AJ that okay, like this guy, he's mentally weak, he's soft, and if you crack him, you crack his chin, you crack him, he's done, or he pretty much mails it in. But if you remember, like his big fight, his fight versus Vladimir Klitschko, in that fight, he got dropped in that fight. He scraped himself off of the ground and got up again, and he stopped Vlad.
Right.
So. But what happened to that AJ? What the fuck happened to that AJ? The one that
he got knocked down by Vlad. He was cautious after that.
But he got up and stopped him, though. Hap. What are you saying?
No, I mean, in his fights after that, I already saw like a little bit more hesitancy than before the Vladimir fight.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Lady Chan, she says that you can't equate Fernando Vargas to AJ. Sorry, White almost got stopped in the third round in that fight. He took a serious beatdown from Vladimir Klitschko before he got the stoppage against Klitschko. He took some punishment against Pavek, took a lot of punishment there and got stopped. And then, of course, we saw the Usyk fight. So, yeah, he's taken a lot of punishment in a handful of fights. He has. So, we agree.
I don't think AJ's in his prime, bro.
Yeah.
I don't think AJ's in his prime.
Yeah, he's
anymore,
not. To be honest, neither is Wilder. They're both not in their prime.
Well, definitely Wilder, not
real.
right. But I don't think AJ's in his prime. Like, because when you think about prime, you're at your physical peak, you're at your mental peak. Right now,
Right.
he's mentally unstable. Physically, like you said, he's struggling with someone. I think EJ said that the guy fucked his shoulder up or some shit, right? And he's been in some wars of fights. He's had the toughest road.
Yeah, bicep. I think
Yeah, my bad,
Citizen
bicep,
said it was the
right.
bicep. There you go.
Right. And like
Yeah, okay,
EJ
Chan,
also
just
said
because
earlier,
you never been, hold on, guys, hold on, please. Just because you never been KO or slept doesn't mean you're still in your prime. No, nah, you can still be out of your prime and take a lot of punishment, and you can still be out of your prime and take a lot of punishment without being KO. Many fighters has gone through that situation. Many of them, I can name a lot of them. So yeah, I disagree with that assessment there. Yeah, Wilder's 36. I get it.
Prime is a hard thing to argue because it's kind of subjective. Like, I mean, most of the time heavyweights tend to have longer primes because they're bigger guys and they don't come into their prime until later. But then you look at Mike Tyson, who had a very short prime.
Right.
So I mean, you never know.
When you lose, when you're losing a fight in the way he lost to Usyk, you are going to be saying that he's not in his prime. Like, he's not in his prime, but he's on the slide. You know what I mean? But is he in his prime? You say maybe his prime was around when he was winning. You know what I mean? When you lose in the way he lost, I mean, he was competitive in the fight. You know what I mean? And like, that's why we want to see the rematch to see is he the same guy? But that loss must have took a lot out of you. I mean, I remember the Ruiz knocked down. The Ruiz knocked down. That took a lot out of him. You know what I mean?
He did get stopped, Lady Chan. He got stopped by Ruiz, but not.
Yeah, he been stopped.
I think she's probably arguing like technical knockout compared to.
Yeah, that was technical knockout. He stand on his feet. It was on his feet.
Lady Chan, I've argued a handful of fights that he took punishment in. The Dillon White fight, the Andrew Ruiz first fight, obviously, the Povetkin fight, the Klitschko fight, and the Usyk fight. That's 5 fights he took a lot of punishment in. Those are the 5 fights he took punishment in. A lot of it. So I don't understand where we're arguing about this here. Yeah, Apollo, it is kind of subjective. We're talking about what's in prime, what is not his prime. But to EJ's point, the way he reacted after the Usyk loss, it did something to EJ mentally and somewhat physically as well. It does something to him. This is not me being biased, but I'm looking at it too.
I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying when you're arguing,
the same thing about
is he in his prime or not? That's a tough thing to argue because it's very, what does that really mean, honestly?
Y'all both have a good fucking point because think about it. B-Hop, like you said, like B-Hop had his prime was later in his career, right? And whereas whereas a guy like Mike Tyson, before he even reached 30, he was well past his prime. So
all right, but Lady Chan, I didn't say he took punishment in the Parker Martin fight. I get he didn't do that, but you're still ignoring the fact that he took punishment in 5 fights, leading up to his in 25 fights that he's had so far.
Come on, you know, Lady Chan's the age, like she's not gonna back down. That's the age. She's the age.
And you know, Usyk never took no punishment. Usyk never took no punishment like that. He looked bad against Derek Chisora. That's why he's in his prime. He's in his Optimus prime. But that's what you do when you're facing AJ, and that's the biggest fight of his career. That's the biggest win of his career.
What about the break? I thought Usyk took some punishment against. Usyk took some punishment against Chisora.
Wait, hold up. Usyk is 35 years old. Usyk is 35 years old.
He's in his prime.
The same age as Wilder. And
he's in his prime.
You sure he's 35? You serious?
Yeah, he's 35. Yeah, he's older than me. He's in his prime. He's in his prime.
Y'all tripping.
He can't get. The thing is, being in your prime,
he's 35 years old.
Yeah, he's right. Hey, being in your prime, can you get? We have to ask. Being in your prime, can AJ get any better than what we saw? That's what we have to say. Like, that's when you know you're in your prime. Can he get any better? That's what you know you're in prime.
How do you know? How do we know Usyk didn't take any punishment? He has a lot of amateur fights.
Yeah, I think he's taking
amateurs,
some
punishment.
Didn't
he get hit in the brain?
Punishment nonetheless.
Hold up. The amateurs, they wear different style clubs where they're not meant to knock people out. That's number one. Number two, they fight in shorter distances. So I know he's had over 400 amateur fights, but if you look at all those fights that Usyk had, even the ones that he lost, he didn't really get touched that much in those fights. So
he knows how to. But he has had some physical stuff that he's went through, because I remember.
But not compared to AJ. I think that's what he's saying. Not compared to like AJ and fucking.
Wait, Usyk's not in
the professional ranks.
Usyk's not in his prime. Wait a minute. Hey, hold up here. What fight did we see that he's in a slide? I didn't see it. What show any decline?
Well, hold up. So you can be in your prime.
I don't get it. How's he not in his prime?
Hold on, wait. So hold on, wait, Dan. You're saying so if someone is in their prime, they could still be in their prime as long as they're winning? Like, cause, like, what if a guy's on a long? Like, in other words, so I guess Floyd was always in his prime because he was undefeated.
No, it's not. That's not it. That's what.
Okay.
Here,
You're talking about on their performances, man.
Well,
on their
hold on,
performances,
hold on,
right?
hold on,
Okay.
Yeah,
So it's not the record; it's actually how you look in the ring, right?
Yeah, and your performances come down to matchmaking, and this is what I'm saying. It wasn't a good matchmake for AJ to face him. That's not the type of match they would, but they took it because they had to because he was
it was a
WBO
mandatory.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And as you saw with Gary Russell Jr.
But isn't that what boxing is about? Fighting the best.
Yeah,
that's what we're talking about. That's why we're here talking about why is he taking a step aside? That's what we've been talking about here. You know what I mean?
But it's like he gets so much hell for doing the right thing, and everybody else is doing messed up stuff, and they get the praise. I just don't get boxing.
Yeah, I get that. You know what?
Boxing ain't about fair.
I remember a time where Muhammad Ali. Yeah. I remember when Ezra Charles, my favorite fight of all time.
Lisa, I hear what you're saying. Lisa. About all right, go ahead.
Hold on, Apple. Let me say something. I hear that, Lisa, because look, my favorite fight of all time, Ezra Charles used to get a lot of ridicule when he was fighting.
Yeah,
they thought he wasn't fight nobody. He wasn't. This is why he didn't want a title shot against guys like Gus Lalanovich, which is heavyweight. Lalanovich ducked the fight, and then all of a sudden, Ezra Charles gave him the title shot when he became champion heavyweight. But that was okay though, because Lalanovich got his ass whooped. But the fact is that he got all that ridicule, but he stepped even within the weights. All right, he was a middleweight for God's sake, so he won the heavyweight title. It became one of the greatest heavyweights.
Yeah. So, and look at who he is today. As a Charles,
I'll add to what Dan just said. Just one thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, look who he is today. It's criminal that he doesn't get that much.
But even someone like Joe Louis, right? He gets a lot of stick for being a well-behaved guy who didn't gloat and didn't do anything because he was just put in that position. He was in that position where he had to be like that. Just like AJ has to be, quiet, level-headed guy because of all his sponsorships and stuff. It's a different situation, but I mean, it's nothing new. It's nothing new. It's nothing new.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of people criticize Joe Louis, and he was probably the most popular fighter of all time.
Yeah. No, I said the criticism is not an issue. The issue is I'm saying that that's part of the game. I was just saying I don't get it. You're damned if you. What I mean is, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Right. Yeah. You know what? That's a good point, Lisa. I agree with you. But Lei Chan, I think we could find some common ground on this one. I see what you mean now. Yeah. Biologically, when you get older, your body changes. So your reflexes is not going to be the same. Your speed is not going to be the same. I get that. But what I'm saying is that even younger fighters like Anthony Joshua, I'm not saying Anthony, let's say Fernando Vargas. Even if you're young, you're supposed to be at that prime condition. But if you're taking a lot of punishment in those battles, like Fernando did, you're going to decline. You're pretty much done. After that Trinidad fight, he was done. That's what I was getting to.
Okay.
Usyk's in his prime by his. That's one of the best performances he's ever put on against an elite fighter. You know what I mean? That's what we're talking about. AJ's an elite fighter, and he's an elite fighter. And he went in there.
Performance against the cruiserweight was even better.
You may say that, but you're talking about on the biggest stage of his life against the heavyweight champion. You understand? That's what we're talking about here.
And he had to put on more weight. He had to put on more weight.
There's a lot of things. So what we're saying is Roy Jones' peak here was a lot of things, but when he fought Ruiz for the heavyweight championship and beat him, you might as well say that was last Roy Jones' great performances. After that, the Tarver losses and stuff like that, and we can keep going down the line. So you know what I mean? That we can say is where was AJ's greatest fight, greatest win? You could say when he beat Ruiz the second time, that was a great performance. And then after that, people will still criticize. But you're right. You're right, Lisa. They still could criticize AJ, but you see the thing is, it's all about how you come back.
His win was good.
It's all about how you come back. Yeah, it's all about how you come back. But you see, the thing is, when you take these sort of things, these sort of punishment, it mounts up as it goes on. And if he's taking the step aside, we cannot, and that's what we're debating about, why he might take the step aside, the reasons why, of where he is and where Usyk is and where is Fury in his prime. I think he's on the slide as well, because the way Wilder was dropping them bombs on him, bro.
He was eating that shit, bro. Like,
Wilder was dropping them, but he was eating it. Yeah, but he was determined to get Wilder out there. That's cool. But Wilder's a donut, yeah. But Usyk ain't a donut, and AJ definitely ain't a donut. They're smarter than him. They're smarter than Wilder. Because Wilder should have done him in the first fight. I mean, he out there on the ropes posing and shit. Mark Breland told him how to beat him, and he just ignored it. So that's his business. You know what I mean? So anyway, we could debate about the prime. We could debate about the fact of the matter is,
prime's different. Prime's different.
If we're gonna take a step aside, is he taking a step aside or not? Some people say no. Some people say yes. It's a good debate though, because we're talking about it. Shows that we all care. But like end of the day, whichever way he chooses, is some people gonna be upset with AJ or not? But I don't like it though. I don't like it. But at the same time, if he's gonna win the fight, I don't like that either. So he's in a real hard position. Again, that goes back to these promoters. They put AJ and Frank and Eddie Hearn in it when they had everything going for them. They should have left Fury alone. They should have said, you know what? Let's go ahead and make the Wilder fight. And it was an easier negotiation. They put themselves with this Fury guy, and he's messed them up.
It still was a bigger fight internationally. It's still Wilder versus Fury. I mean, Wilder versus AJ was bigger than was bigger than Fury versus AJ right now.
I'm not trying to be funny. Yeah, you're right, Siege, you're right. But you know what? I'm not trying to be funny. I'm going by what I've observed when it comes to the PBC. They don't always like to make those type of fights.
But they wanted that fight though. They didn't want that
why
fight.
didn't it happen?
Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn make it.
All right, no, Lisa, you want to play
I don't
fingers.
agree
I
with
see
you.
what do.
No,
EJ, I don't agree with you.
About the
We're asking,
PBC.
but the fight never happened though. All we know is
It
what
didn't
we see
happen.
now.
It didn't
I
happen.
know we can go both ways. We don't know the fight never happened. All we know is where we are now with AJ right now, and right now where AJ's at. Either way he fights,
No,
or he doesn't.
They caught him out there something that he said in an IFL video, and they used that against him. And
they always use everything.
That's
like it's over now. That fight's over now. It's dead now.
But what I'm saying is, why aren't these big fights happening with them? I disagree with you, EJ. We haven't had Bud and Crawford, Spence. We haven't. A lot.
And you know
of
why that is? You know why that is,
there.
isn't it? That's because of Bud, right? Bud don't want Bud thinks it goes back to the same thing. Bud thinks he deserves more money. Wilder thinks he deserves more money. That's why they don't fight.
EJ, with that, but when it comes to Bud, we got to also keep in mind that's a different situation compared to the
They
Wilder.
don't want to make the fights over there. They think they better than everybody. They duck.
EJ, Bud doesn't have anyone. Bud doesn't hold up, Dan. But you have to realize, bro.
I'll go after you.
PBC was exposed. Like Bud Crawford doesn't have Bob Arum. That Bob Arum supposedly was the problem. They're not even offering Bud Crawford or even contacting him about trying to sign him or trying to fight him. No,
I heard it was sent over, bro. I heard it was sent over. Errol Spence told him how much you're gonna get. This is what you're gonna earn. And Crawford said, "Nah, man, I want more." And that's why they never fought, bro. It's always gonna be about, in this day and age, in the way we are boxing, they put the money out on the table so us fans could know. Back in the days, we didn't know about this, right? Crawford knows he deserves more.
EJ, if you want to make a fight, if a fighter wants to make a fight with a fight, they contact that guy's handlers or they contact that fighter directly.
It's over. It's easy. They don't
go to the public. You can maybe bring up two guys that done that. For the most part, if you really want to get a fight made, you contact that fighter.
Some guy. Listen, back in the days, certain guys, they knew they weren't going to get their highest percentage, but they knew they could beat them. You know what I mean? That's what people did. They took pay cut, but we didn't. Yeah. It was the way it was done these days. These days they feel like, nah, I ain't doing that. You know what? I'll fight you later on down the line. I ain't taking no nasty pay cut. You know what I mean? That's why you think the Manny Pacquiao Floyd fight never happened for the longest. It was all about the percentages. That's all they argued about.
It was about the Olympic style drug testing.
That was part of the negotiation as well. But it's the percentages. That's what they're all arguing about. But at the end of the day, you're all gonna lose anyway. What are you hanging around? We're all gonna die. So what are you hanging around for? And that's what's happened here. You know what I'm saying? Why are you hanging around for? We're all going. We're all going down to the dust, man. Hanging around for, and they look at Riddick Bowe. You saw Riddick Bowe. You see how when he saw Lennox Lewis all humbling and shit. Man, I remember the other day when he was walking past Lewis, like Lewis was dirt. Nah, that shit was crazy, bro.
Yeah, let me go back to this point real quick. Yeah.
Can't hear you, Dan.
Dan, you dropped off.
I think you might have muted yourself, bro.
Back to the PBC situation on Lisa's point right here. I will concede to the point there.
EJ, you're going in and out, bro. I don't know what it is.
Me? No, I'm fine, man. I'm just waiting for
No,
Dan.
I'm sorry, Dan, not you.
Yeah, Dan, man. Listen. End of the day, this boxing thing. I like watching old fights anyway. Yeah, but end of the day, this stuff has got everyone
Me
everyone
too.
talking. You know what I mean? It's got
Me
everyone
too.
huffing and puffing. But
Did anybody hear
Wait.
about the fucking about the whole supposed Buck Crawford's like gonna go up to 154? He's not worrying about the fight anymore, or some shit like that.
Nah, I haven't heard that
All
one.
right.
Because supposedly he's about
I
to go
heard
to.
that.
There you go, Dan. Now go back.
heard
What were
that.
you saying, Dan? What were you saying? Oh shit.
It's cool though that we can carry
All
on,
right,
man.
cool.
Like we oh, he's back.
Yeah, I was gonna
Go
say
ahead.
my internet connection was unbalanced. I don't know what happened there, but yeah. So back to Lisa's point. Yeah, that's cool. I got you guys on here. I know EJ, you could carry the live stream, but let me just say this: the PBC thing. Going back to that in the earlier times, I get what you're saying, Lisa, because what happened was, Lisa got Lady Jan got jokes. Wi-Fi is bad with her. Deontay Wilder. All right. But
Yeah, Dan's in and out, boy. Like go ahead, Dan. Dan's in and out like the Pokio. Go ahead, Dan. You in and out, Dan. Go ahead.
let me just say this.
Like a robbery.
that yo, bro.
Dan's sticking and moving over there, bro. We can't.
Dan's sticking and moving.
You're on the floor of Mayweather, sticking and moving.
Let me try something.
Yo, bro. See, like, go ahead, Dan. Dan's doing Biggie Smooth. Stick and move.
I think Dan fucking with us. Ain't nothing wrong with Dan connection, man. Dan's fucking with us, man.
Yo, Dan needs to put yourself on mute for a minute to check yourself out. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Now, listen. All right, listen. I saw what's his name, Gary Russell Jr. earlier on. I heard him whining and complaining. I was like, yo, bro, like you be fighting like once a year, and that you the longest reigning champion, and you felt like you won the belt. I'm like, nah, bro. Like you listen, bro. I like Gary Russell Jr., but he was another one. He got offered by Josh Warrington, and he said, I ain't fighting it. They deserve more money. Okay, this is what happens. You know what I mean? Eventually, you're gonna lose. You lose everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's life, man. We're all gonna lose.
That's what I'm saying to you.
Fighting once a year will catch up with you eventually.
Yeah.
It was 7 years, bro. 7 years.
Trying to outsmart people and doing all kinds of things, and you know this, that, the other. The Klitschko's were trying to do their little thing. If you beat in the contract, if you beat one of them, you have to face the brother automatically. Shit,
that
like
was a contract. That was in the contract.
Yeah, that was in the contract. When the brother whoops your ass, you have to fight the other brother. That was in their contract. That's deep, in it. That's how they roll. I mean, they all these things, yeah. Lennox Lewis, when you fought for him, all the belts are never on the line. They were never all undisputed. So what he did, when you fight him, whatever belt you was managing for, that's the belt. If you beat me, you take that belt. But I have the other 3 belts. So that's how they were rolling. All these little things. Go ahead.
So then Chris Bird beat one of them. He didn't. Did he fight both of them?
Lennox Lewis vacated the belt supposedly because he didn't want to fight Southpaws. You know what I mean?
Chris Bird beat Vitali.
No, but didn't he fight? Didn't he?
He beat Vitali.
He beat Vitali for the WBO belt. Yeah,
but that was a shoulder injury, and then he lost to Vlad.
Yeah,
okay, so he did fight both. He fought both.
And this is what I'm saying. So everyone's been doing their little bits here to drain boxing out and to long it out. Andre Ward, I ain't fighting this promoter. I don't like how he's treating me, so I'm gonna go on a hiatus. What's his name? Mikey Garcia. I'm gonna do the same thing. And now look here, both you're losing to Andre Ward's lucky he left the game, but look how Mikey Garcia lost to a nobody Spanish guy who's difficult, awkward. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Ray Jones getting knocked out by guys in Russia. Listen, bro. Listen. You can't outsmart this game.
Bro. You can't.
But that's the boxing game. When you're on top, make the right decisions. And then go about your business. You know what I mean? Like,
that's what I was talking about AJ earlier. Like AJ, there's like if I'm AJ, I'm not conceding shit. Like I ain't no way I'm stepping aside. Like there's no way, bro. Right. They already seem like they got it in for Eddie Hearn, like the Frank Warren and Arum. So it'd be
Mm-hmm.
stupid. It'd be suicide for him to do some dumb shit like that.
All
I
right,
think
here we go.
AJ should fight Usyk, bro.
Yeah. Hey, how about now, guys? Is that much better?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
good.
much better.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I think there was another connection on one of
Yeah.
my one of my devices is clogging up the space of my Wi-Fi, but it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody dropped out. That was EJ, but he'll get back in. But anyways, yeah, like I said, guys, the PBC. I want to get back to your point, Lisa. The PBC
Mm-hmm.
situation. What it is that they had a lot of revenue, kind of like what Bob Arum did with Top Rank with the welterweights back in the day. He kept
Mm-hmm.
everybody in house. That's what we criticized Arum for that too. We all did, and rightfully so. And same thing with
Mm-hmm.
Heyman. That's what he was able to do because he had all the revenue coming in from Waddle and Reed, which is the investment firm, which he took like a
Yeah.
top like
Yeah.
$240 million. That's why he's filthy rich now. But anyhow, I warned about this too when this happened. Yes, they were making some decent fights, but the problem is that if you have that much of a stronghold and you're not willing to make cross promotional fights, and you got these guys who are so comfortable making so much money and they're not fighting the top level competition, this is going to be a problem. They're going to be so
Mm-hmm.
used to it to the point that they're no longer going to be hungry to fight elite competition. That's what happened to Deontay Wilder. That's what happened to Caleb Plant. Now it's happening to Charlo, with Jamal
Mm-hmm.
particularly, and that's what's now happening
Yeah.
to Sean Porter. To be fair, he was always fighting league level competition, so I'm not going to put Sean Porter in that category.
Thurman.
Same thing with him, yeah. And now Gary
Mm-hmm.
Russell, unfortunately, he lost yesterday, so it's just like
Yeah.
you put these guys in this position where they're so happy of things the way they are. In fact, Deontay Wilder openly admitted it like a dummy that I'm happy to make a lot of money, take less riskier fights. He said that himself in one interview. I'm like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Man, like,
god!
boy.
I
That's
mean,
that
who
silk. That's that
wouldn't?
silk pajama shit, man.
Yeah,
But who
exactly.
wouldn't? If you
I
really
think
want to be technical, who wouldn't?
I think he said that in the interview with the Boxing Voice. I think it was Ness who
Mm-hmm.
gave the interview a while back. And Deontay's like, yeah, man, I like things the way they are. Why I gotta go to a promoter, man? Why I gotta do cross promotion stuff? I like things the way they are. And Ness like, well, if you want to make the biggest fights,
Mm-hmm.
man, you gotta sacrifice. You gotta do those cross promotional stuff. And then Deontay got mad. It's like, well, man, this is bullshit. I don't know why I gotta answer these questions like this. But
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
anyhow, I get what you're saying, but it's
Yeah.
not. My point is that now things have changed. I think they've ran out of resources on the PBC side. I can see that now
Mm-hmm.
from my perspective. I think now they have no choice but to make cross promotional fights if they want to stay afloat, if they want to survive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what happens. That's what Top Rank had to do when they were running out of resources. They had to make some cross promotional fights. That's what they had to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
So
So when you say cross promotional, you don't mean like dual, right? Like when both promotional companies are both like 50-50 all in to promote it, or do you mean just like crossing over the street and fighting on someone else's platform?
well, it's basically when I mean by crossing over, that means that the other side is going to fork up the bill. I mean, they're putting
Ah,
up the majority of the funding.
Mm-hmm.
like when Loma went to when Loma fought Gary Russell, right?
Yeah,
So Al Hammond
Mm-hmm.
had to foot the bill, right?
yeah, he
Yeah.
fit the bill for that fight.
Right, right.
Yeah, not Top Rank.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. That's the only way you can stay afloat if you're going to get somebody else who's willing to foot the bill for the fight, and you get paid off the
Mm-hmm.
back end of it. So yeah, I see what you're saying on that one. It's frustrating, and the PBC was doing this for years, and to be fair, Top Rank was doing it long before they were doing it. So
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember when he was doing it. Yeah.
But see
Yeah.
that,
Because it was a Cold War.
yeah,
But even with all that, one thing's for sure, like in boxing, of course, there's going to always be different managers. There's always going to be different promoters. But in boxing, one thing is always a constant and always a mainstay, and that is nothing's bigger than the big fight.
yeah,
The big fight trumps
Mm-hmm.
all that bullshit because all
Yeah.
the money that it can generate and everything that's on the line. So it doesn't really matter, we're talking about, well, this side of the street or that side of the street, or I'm on this platform, you're on this platform. If the fight's big enough and it's the fight that people want to see,
yeah,
and you already know that it's guaranteed people are going to pay for it, they're going to come and show up physically, they're going to show up, and also they're going to pay for it on pay-per-view, then it doesn't really matter about, well, it shouldn't be an issue for two fucking fighters to work together, right? So in other
Yeah.
words, like,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
so like I said, like in boxing, the big fight trumps everything. It's always that way, and it's always going to
Yeah.
be that way. So
Yeah.
I just think that
Mm-hmm.
people use that as an excuse when a fighter don't want to fight the other fighter. right?
Right.
That's when they use that as an excuse, because otherwise, I mean, a big fight's a big fight. A big fight's a big fight. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
like Fury and Wilder was cross promotions in 2 and 3.
Yeah, they were. And you know,
Yeah.
the word is that you know, I'm not sure if you want to take any you know, if this anything of a grain of salt, or you think this is credible. This is coming from Fred, Barbershop Conversations. He said the reason why we're seeing a cross promotional fights with the PBC and Top Rank is because Al Heyman doesn't have any resources anymore. He burnt through the money, you know, through the Waddle refunding. He burnt through it. So now he needs Top Rank to help fork the bill, to help get those fights up in the air, to get these guys paid. So
why not jump on the fucking Bud Crawford versus Errol Spence fight?
That's a good point.
That's the case.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good
Maybe
point.
because Errol Spence don't want to fight Bud Crawford.
Yeah, he don't want that fight.
Hey, that guy, what's that guy? Tim?
Yeah.
Tim whatever,
Scott.
what's his name?
Tim Scott.
He's
Tim Smith or Tim Smith? Yeah, Tim Smith. Yeah,
He
Tim
said-
Witherspoon?
No, not
Tim
Witherspoon.
Smith. The other day he said, no, not Tim Witherspoon, Tim Smith. He was like, well, we don't have enough money for we wouldn't want to degrade but insult Bud Crawford by offering him. I'm like,
that's duck talk.
Y'all got where the money come at for where the $40 million come at for Canelo?
Yeah, they got the money. I mean, look.
I was ductorious. Lady Chan.
Ductorious. Lady Chan says it ductorious. But yeah, I see. Yeah, look.
Dan, hold up, Dan. You can't let him get away with that one, though, bro.
Which one?
You can't let Tim Smith get away with what he said, man.
No, he can't. He can't. Yeah. I don't agree.
Have
with
you
him.
ever spoke on that? Because I don't recall you ever speaking on that one.
Nah, I'm gonna speak on it right now. First of all, I don't believe that. Second of all, you gave up $40 million to fucking Canelo Alvarez, and there's a high probability that he's not going to fight on the PBC platform again.
And he gave Caleb Plant $10 million of those dollars, guaranteed. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
I can't think of any PBC fighter that's ever got $10 million guaranteed besides Manny Pacquiao
or Deontay Wilder.
And Deontay, but besides Wilder, like I can't think of anyone.
That's true. That's the highest payday that either PBC fighters ever got between the both of them. Well, obviously Wilder got like what 15-20 million for the Fury fight in the second and third Fury fight, but I mean, Tim Smith can't. You know, I'm not gonna let him off the hook on that one. I don't believe that for a sense. I just honestly believe that Errol Spence does not genuinely want that fight. He don't want that smoke right now. I know EJ said that. Well, he sent them an offer to Terrence, and Terrence turned it down. I get it, but you know,
did he? Like he physically sent an offer.
That's what.
Or do you mean 60-40 over?
Do we actually believe any of this shit that gets put out in public?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing.
Who's the source? Was it Blue Blood? Was it
Fanon?
Who was it? Who was it? Who?
Let me just say this. I'll keep it between me and EJ, but it was somebody on here on the YouTube Spirit that said that. But I say, look, I believe when I see it, I need to see some documentation on that. If there is some documentation on that within the injunction of the lawsuit with Aram, then yeah, Terrence is fucked. I'm like, oh, come on, dude.
But hold up, but Dan, think about it like this. He's not with Top Rank anymore.
You know, I know he's not.
What's the fucking issue? What's the problem, bro?
Well, they're saying, according
I don't
to
want to hear that
source,
60-40 shit, man. Send the man a contract. Tim Smith just said that he didn't he didn't even contact this dude or even try to offer him.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Then I was going to get to that.
Man.
There's a contradiction there because Tim Smith said they never made contact, but then again, according to this source, they sent an offer while Aaron was when Bud was with Top Rank at the time.
So who's the source? Come on, Dan.
I can't say.
I've been knowing you for years.
He can't say.
Talk to EJ about it, bro, because I don't want to put it all out there. Talk to EJ about it. Talk to him about it.
That's why they coming on here talking to these people on YouTube, man. Some stuff
like I said, though, I don't.
Is the source reliable? That's what I'm asking.
Nah, I'm gonna be honest. Okay, that's a fair question. Me personally, I don't think so.
Right, that's right. Because we have actual PBC officials saying that they've never.
I didn't say PBC.
No, I mean like Tim Smith is saying that he didn't. He's not even going to even try to even contact this dude or send him anything because he's got a hunch that Bud's going to want too much and they can't afford Bud.
Got a hunch. He hasn't even talked to him. He hasn't even negotiated with him. But that's what I said. That's why I told EJ, "Hey, look, man, just if there's anything on paper, I got to see it. Be to believe."
And they want me to continue to be a fan of boxing? How can I?
Let me find out that EJ source is Fanon. I swear to God.
Well, it's not his source, but he heard it from somebody else. I'm gonna be fair to EJ. He said this is what he heard it from. I'm like, okay, I'll have to see that on paper. I have to see that if that's actually true. But Tim Smith, if that's the case, then Tim Smith is being contradictory because he's saying that we never even began negotiating with the guy because he's gonna start asking for much. So, like, okay, you even bother talking to me, you want to make that assumption? Okay, I see how that goes. In actuality, let's be honest, Errol Spence is gonna lose that fight, and given the fact that I'm gonna keep it real. He hasn't recovered from that car accident. I just don't see how he's going to be 100%. Now, when you want to talk about fighters that are not in their prime, that is a perfect example right there. Now, as far
of a young fighter not being in his prime, that's a perfect example, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Come from a bad car accident, which should have killed him. I'm sorry to be blunt here. It should have killed him. Luckily, I mean, I'm not to be funny. It should have killed him.
You said it like, why that nigga ain't dead? That's what it sounds like.
Nah, I ain't trying to be harsh, but in actuality, it's
the grace of God.
What's up?
It's the grace of God.
Yeah, it's the grace of God. Exactly. Anybody, like
a lot
90%
of times, people who are really drunk survive car accidents.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
is that true? Yeah, you know
because
what? That is true.
You know
Hap,
why?
I've heard
because
that
they
shit,
can,
like,
because their body is anesthetized,
it's so relaxed.
so they can take a lot of that pain until the next day.
Back. So you're saying the body is numb when you're drunk, when you're intoxicated.
Yes.
It's numb.
Yes.
Okay,
but you saw the way that car flipped. You sure that that wasn't a regular accident? I mean,
that was no regular
dude
accident.
shot through a windshield, bro.
Miracle.
No one's ever the same after that. Come on. Maybe he came through it better than most people would have, but bro, there's no way that didn't take a toll.
Like that looked like a scene from Bad Boys 2 or Bad Boys 3 or some shit. Like it looked like fucking like the car was flipping over multiple times. So it's just like,
and the fucked up thing about it is there was no one else even involved. Like it wasn't like someone cut him off or something. Like he was just all by himself.
And he wasn't on the highway.
I mean, not laughing matter, but I'm glad he survived the accident. But my point is that there's a young fighter who's not in his prime after that accident. Let's keep it real. And I think that's part of the reason why they pulled out of the Pacquiao fight, because they knew he wasn't physically ready.
I don't think he injured his eye. I agree with that. I don't think there was an eye injury.
No, it could have been an eye injury, but here's the thing. If you look at the sparring footage before the fight, before he announced that he was going to pull out, he was getting beat up in that sparring session. That they leaked the tape. And I'm like, why the hell are they going to put this out? This guy's getting pieced up. You know, so Errol Spence, that is, he was getting pieced up in sparring. And
wow.
Yeah, he looked lethargic. He looked confused. He didn't want to move his head. Something was bothering him, and I couldn't point it out. I was like, something's wrong with this dude.
Well, Dan, in a weird way, that's how he always looks. So I don't know.
Well, not in sparring.
Yeah.
Before the accident, he didn't look like that before.
Yeah. Well, he never did have head movement, though. Just saying.
Well, that's true. He never had head movement, but he had some good reflexes. He had sharpness. I didn't see that in that sparring session. I didn't see it.
He was a dog. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know he still got that spirit in him.
Yeah,
it's just he's been through a lot.
Of duck, that duck spirit is what you're talking about.
Yeah, man. Look, the dude don't want the fight. I mean, he's been trying to avoid that fight for a long time now. The only reason why he showed up for the Porter fight because he was hoping Porter would inflict some more damage to the point that Crawford would slow down. But apparently that didn't happen. He's like, oh, fuck it. I'm not fighting this guy. It didn't look like he ain't slowed down. I'm not beating him. I don't have a good chance beating him right now.
Right. And but the thing is, what I think that Errol Spence's biggest advantage that he has over other fighters, especially in this era, is like this YouTube community that protects him to the point where it's sickening, you know, almost to the point where it's more of a priority to keep him protected than to see him fight the fights that, you know, the rest of the boxing fans want him to fight.
They're being, no disrespect to those guys, but they're being hypocrites in that situation. Let me tell you why. Because I recalled when Kell Brook went up to middleweight and got his ass beat by Gennady Golovkin, right? Got his eye socket broken, right? After that fight, Kell Brook was planning to go to 154. Eddie Hearn was going to vacate the IBF belt. Guess who was the mandatory challenger to that title? Who was it?
Who?
Errol Spence. And that same dudes who
I remember.
Yeah, you remember, Lisa? Yeah. So when that story came out, and this was several years ago, 6 years or 7 years ago, when the story came out that Kell Brook was planning to vacate the 147-pound IBF title to go up to light middleweight, everybody lashed out at Brook, came after him and said, hey, you better not vacate your fucking belt. You better fight your fucking mandatory. You better fight the guy who's earned the shot. That's Errol Spence. Don't do it. And he took the fight. He took the fight coming back down to welterweight, which was obviously was a mistake,
To his
but
detriment. Yeah.
yeah, obviously, yeah, to his detriment. But there's the same people that criticize Brook for trying to plan that move is trying to give Earl Spence a pass because the plan is, the rumor mill is that after the Ugas fight, he's planning to go up to 154. And I better see everybody call Spence out for that because that's bullshit. Remember, you went after Brook for trying to do the same shit?
Yeah.
You told him not to do it? You better do the same thing to Spence because I better not see him go up to 154 without fighting Crawford. That's all I got to say. Better not do it. Do not do it.
Well, I got some news. I have some news for you, Dan. Most likely, that's exactly what the fuck's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's why
they're not even offering Bud.
That fight, they're not going to fight. Yeah. I think that fight is dead.
I won't be surprised if that fight don't happen, bro.
I won't be surprised.
I don't either.
I won't be surprised either. But let me just say this though. I bet the thing is, it's just that, dude. It's just the hypocrisy is just crazy to me. It's like, you're going to give this guy a pass for not fighting the elite guy there who's earned the shot, who's been waiting for a shot, who's stopped every opponent at welterweight, by the way, who did it in spectacular fashion, did that. And yet you guys talking about he doesn't deserve it. He needs to do this. He needs to do that. Oh, fuck all that, man. No, the dude earned his title shot. Earl Spence was the guy who told him when he was fighting at 140, you go get a belt at 147, then we can talk. He did that, and now he's been trying to avoid that fight as much as possible.
Right,
he's been running away from it, and I can't stand for it.
Yeah, one of his quotes was like, when they asked him about fighting Bud Crawford, is like he's got to get past Jeff Horn first, and then we'll see from there. Like, and immediately after he beat Jeff Horn, it was a brand new excuse. It was like, well, he's on the wrong side of the street, and
guess what? Though? Here's another thing too. Jerron Boots Ennis is coming after him too in the IBF ranking. So if he moves up to 154, you duck the Jerron Boots Ennis smoke too. You can say what you will about him. You may say he not be ready, but I think he's ready for that fight. And I think Crawford may lose that fight. Now, this is the same situation Earl Spence is when Kell Brook was in several years ago. Same situation. So, look, I like Earl Spence, man, but I don't like the way he's moving, man. I don't like it. I know people say, well, why are you going against the Ugas fight? Why are you going against it? I'm not against that fight in general. I'm just pissed off because he wanted Ugas because he thought that's a safer option.
But think about the extremes that he went to in order for him to knife fight. But I think about it like this, all right? The WBA removed Ugas from the equation just so, for the most part, that gave a lane and an opportunity for Bud Crawford and Errol Spence to focus on their fight and do what needs to be done to make that fight happen.
Hey, hold on for a second. You guys keep going. I'm going to step away for a second. Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going.
But if the WBA, all right, put Ugas in a tournament, right, which led, like, that's perfect if you're a fan that wanted to see that fight, the Bud Crawford versus Errol Spence fight. So that leaves no one else for him to fight but Bud Crawford, for at the very least for them to work on that fight. The fact that he went above and beyond, right, to show and display once again that he wants no parts of Bud Crawford. He went and he paid, right, and Al Heyman contacted WBA to pull Ugas from out of the fucking tournament that he was placed in. Think about it. Ugas would have been tied up in that tournament for about a year. All right, that gave more than enough time and more of enough cushion for Bud Crawford and Errol Spence to have multiple fights, right? So, but instead he went the other route. Al Heyman got these guys to take Ugas, who's the champion, out of the tournament and put him in a fight versus Errol Spence, and also pay the guy that he was supposed to fight step aside money. So they did three different things, right? That's taking extreme measures to show us that he don't want to fight Bud Crawford. I hate excuses like, the fight makes more sense if it's for undisputed. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't, because the biggest fights in the history of boxing, you go and you look at the list, maybe only one of them, which is the one all the way at the bottom. I think it might be the Vander Holyfield fight when he fought. I forgot who he fought, but that was for undisputed, and that was the 3-belt era undisputed. But every other fight on that list, on that top 10,
what's his name?
None of those are for undisputed. None of those are for
Riddick
undisputed.
Bowe. Yeah. You talking about Riddick Bowe?
Right. Which leads to my point, which was my original point, my initial point. Nothing's more important than the big fight, right? Yeah. So all those other fights on the list, all the biggest generating fights.
I mean, some of the biggest fights were for undisputed, though, bro.
Right.
Like,
no, we're talking about pay-per-view.
Ali versus.
We're talking about pay-per-view, bro. We talk about pay-per-view fights. Because this supposedly that's what this is
Tyson,
all
about. Lewis versus Holyfield was for undisputed.
Okay,
yeah, it was.
And all right, and what was and you said Lewis and Bowe, right?
Lewis and
Bowe never fought. Wait,
Lewis and Holyfield.
Okay, and keep going and on that list, right? Because I'm looking at the top 10 list.
Tyson
now.
versus Spinks was for undisputed. That was one of the biggest fights in history.
Yep.
What was the pay-per-view numbers on that? What was that on the list?
Dude, I don't know. That was in the 80s,
hold on.
bro.
I think they did a
don't
close circuit
remember.
on that one. Hold on. That was a
because
close
I'm looking
fight.
at the list right now. I don't see that.
Hold on. That was a close circuit fight, but I think let me check to see if there was actually any pay-per-view.
I'm pretty sure that was pay-per-view.
It could have been, but I know they did a close circuit on that fight too back in the day.
I'm looking at this pay-per-view fight right here at the very top of the list.
Okay, here it is. Yeah. Tyson versus Spinks did over 700,000 buys. Back then, that was a lot. A lot.
Still a lot.
That's not on. I don't see that.
Okay, you're looking at the top 10 selling pay-per-views, right?
Right. That's what I'm looking at.
No. It's not a top 10. No. It's not.
But that's what
I'm not saying top 10 pay-per-views. I'm just saying that some of the biggest fights in history were for undisputed.
Well, yeah, right.
A lot of them.
But we're not talking about that. I don't know if you understand, but
okay, no, I misunderstood. Now, you're going down the list of like Pacquiao, Mayweather,
right,
and all that. Yeah,
now you're on the same website. Now you're on the same website. I'm on,
yeah. No, I'm not on the website. I'm just
the biggest
saying,
pay-per-view
I get
numbers, the biggest pay-per-view generating fights in the history of boxing. Right?
Wasn't De La Hoya Trinidad for undisputed?
No, it was for it was a unification bout.
Oh, it was just a unification?
Yeah, they were both one belt holders. Trinidad was IBF champion. De La Hoya was the WBC champion. And then there was a linealship and the Ring Magazine title was on the line that night too. And Trinidad ended up capturing those belts. So yeah, that was not undisputed.
I think besides maybe on that top 10 list that I'm looking at, like, because it only shows 10, and what I'm looking at, there's only one that's for undisputed. But my whole point is that, especially in the 4-belt era, like, to me, it's unnecessary for that to be the end all be all to determine whether a fight is a huge fight.
Well, I think that's what we're trying to get back to as boxing fans, though.
Right,
we want undisputed to clear up the picture.
Right,
and it's not about necessarily. It's not necessarily about like who's fighting or what it's for, but we all want undisputed, whether it's the biggest money maker for them or not. I mean, them making money. Them making money is only beneficial to them, not us as fans.
I'm all for undisputed, but the era that we live in now, and what boxing is about now, and what's going on YouTube, which is definitely one of the main sources for where everyone gets their fucking information from, and pretty much where everyone congregates together and discuss about the sport, is on YouTube, the YouTube boxing community, and what a lot of the biggest channels, what they seem to focus on is pay-per-view numbers. They don't talk about skill. They don't talk about accomplishments. They talk about pay-per-view numbers. And they use that as an excuse for why it's okay for Errol Spence to not fight Bud Crawford when we wanted him to fight. They use that as an excuse to where Errol Spence should get all his belts, as many belts, and collect as much as he possibly can.
This is the Floyd Mayweather blueprint. So
if they want to go off of their pay-per-view,
well, if it's just about pay-per-view numbers, then I think Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson is the biggest fight in boxing.
That's true.
and that's not a good fight. I'd rather see Spence versus Crawford than Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul.
That's my point. I couldn't give a fuck about
I'd rather
pay-per-view.
see Josh Taylor versus Jose Ramirez than see Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. I'm just keeping it real.
There's nothing more important than the big fight. Whether the sanctioning bodies are all together and going to be eating off it or not. Look, right. I'm all for undisputed, right? But there's nothing more important than the big fight, and in particular the fights that the fans want to see.
Right.
All right. That's what I'm saying. And since those YouTube guys want to emphasize pay-per-view numbers, let's bring a list of all the fucking biggest generating pay-per-view number fights. And none of those are for fucking undisputed, at least at the top of the list. Yeah. Right. Besides maybe one or two.
Yeah,
I know my favorite.
Tyson Lewis is on that list, right?
Hey,
besides one or two.
Go ahead, Lisa.
And I know, Dan, you may agree with me on this because I know Evander Holyfield is your guy. He's my guy too. Right. One of my all-time favorite heavyweight fights was Evander Holyfield and Bo, #1.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. That was like unreal. The skill level.
Yeah, that was like did like 1.2 million pay-per-view buys. I think that was one of the highest grossing pay-per-view fights of all time. Probably not top 10. Probably one of them, but yeah, that was a damn good fight. Undisputed fight.
The thing is, though, if you're talking about top selling pay-per-views, bro, you gotta also take into account adjust for inflation.
That's
That's
true.
what a lot of people just look up that list and they go off that list. But you got to adjust for inflation. I think probably the top grossing fight of all time, adjusted for inflation, would be probably Joe Louis versus Max Schmeling.
Yeah, fair
One
enough.
or
Fair
two.
enough.
One
Or
or
if you
two.
include inflation with Leonard versus Hagler, the super fight, back then they did 150,000 buys, and that was one of the highest grossing fights of all time. But if you include the inflation of today, that will equate to maybe 900,000 buys with what $200 million or $300 million revenue back then. So if you include inflation for today, I should say. So yeah, Tony
I don't
Review
even
says
think.
that look, Bud
I
waited
don't
too
think
long
that
to
was
go to
even on.
154.
I don't even think that was on television though. I don't even think.
No,
That shit
Leonard
was.
and
That was on the
Hagler was
radio,
closed circuit.
right?
It was closed circuit.
Joe Louis versus Max Schmeling. That was like on the radio.
Yeah, that was on radio. Yeah, it was on TV too. They televised that fight.
The radio audience for that Louis Schmeling fight was the biggest audience in boxing history.
Yeah, it was a radio fight, but then again they televised it too. So
What about the second one? We talking about the first or the second one?
I think there was a first one. I think.
Talking about the second one. The first one was when Lewis wasn't even champion, but the second one was when the whole Nazi versus United States thing was in it.
Yeah.
So the second one was for the title, and that's the one that was the top selling fight in history.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was George Carpentier and Jack Dempsey because that did like the first $1 million gate.
That was the first $1 million gate, but Joe Louis versus Schmeling had a huge, much bigger audience, and the technology was better to where some people could watch it on TV. Well, not even TV, but radio and live. And I don't know. I don't even think TV was a thing right then.
No, it was introduced by a legislation that was signed by Herbert Hoover at the time during the Great Depression, around that time. Or I think around that. When did they fight? 1939, 1941?
That had to been like 1920 or 1920.
Yeah, up hold tight. You far away, bro. Can you speak up?
I wasn't talking.
Oh, somebody was. Okay, never mind.
That was me.
That was C's.
Oh, that was C's.
Far away.
Oh, my bad. But hey, let me go to the comments real quickly before I wrap it up. So Tony says that Buzz waited too long to go to 154. Tim Tszyu is about to take over that division. Bud will get KO'd if he fight Tim Tszyu. Bud has nowhere to go, but got suspense. 154. I know he expressed interest to go up to 154, but I do agree, Tony. I have my doubts there about him going there because I think that way would be too much for him. He's not really a big guy. I mean, he looks pretty big at welterweight. He looks pretty big and strong there, but that doesn't mean that's going to carry up to 154. I'm not sure how well he could do there. As far as Tim Tszyu looked like a goddamn middleweight. I think he's too big to be fighting at 154. That's just my opinion. So you may have a point there. Actual facts, what's happening, man? He says that, yo, Dan, salute to the panel in the chat. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Undisputed is in the top.
What up, Actual?
Yeah, Actual facts. That's the homie. Hamed, I know. Say what you want about Hamed. He's a good guy. Salute, Dan. I just saw the breaking news. I'm on board, brother. We'll catch up later on the show. Yeah. Shout out to you, Hamed. I know he's flying out of the country right now, so I hope everything's okay. Good to see Joshua doing what's best for his career in the heavyweight division. So if you're implying that he's stepping aside, like I said, though, we all have our opinions about it, but I think it'd be best for the time being. But a lot of people tend to disagree with. That's the reason why it's good to have this healthy debate without disrespecting each other. So yeah, I mean, if you make some good points. I know Lisa makes some good points why he shouldn't step aside. C's make some good points about it. I know Happel and I are on board that he should step aside. So yeah, because we're all having a good disagreement, good agreed disagreement on this topic right now. By the way, it's being reported by Gary Davis. I know, say what you want about him. He's a Fury fanboy, nut hugger, but you might want to take what he said as a grain of salt. But who knows? We'll have to see if Hearn and Joshua comes out tomorrow and debunk the story. So we do expect some type of response to this by tomorrow or during the week. So yeah,
I think the main reason, Dan, is that people are saying that he shouldn't is because there's going to be some kind of backlash. But I mean, he's going to get stick either way.
Yeah, exactly.
If the $15 million or 15 million pound, excuse me, the 15 million pound offer is a real thing, which I doubt. Because that's way too much for step aside money. But if it is real and he doesn't take it, he's a fucking fool.
Hey, we know how low you stand. I know where your position is on that one. So yeah, hey, fair enough, man. Fair enough. But I mean, me personally, I don't care if it's 2 million, if it's 1 million. If you're offered extra money without taking a fight and you need some time to go back and prepare to get your confidence going again, why not do it? I think that'd be best for me. Not just my opinion, but again, I know other people tend to disagree with that. So then that's fine. That's good too. But again, we'll have to see what information further develops during the week. And we expect this is going to be a topic for the whole week. It's going to dominate the whole boxing sphere on YouTube. So, yeah, I'm seeing all these videos coming in as we speak. Whatnot. So Tony's about to get out of the chat. So shout out to Tony, man. Thanks for coming through, man. I really appreciate it. You know what, guys? I think I'm going to wrap it up. I think we kind of covered everything. So, any closing arguments before I wrap it up? I'm going to start with C's.
Yo, Dan, can you hear me, man?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, any closing arguments? Because I'm going to wrap it up right now.
Yeah, hold on 1 second.
All right.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, that's much better. I can
That's
hear you.
better.
All right, yeah. See, actually, I agree with both you guys, but in a sense, if AJ decides to step aside, hey, that's him. It's his life. It's his world. He's made tons of money, but if he's going to do it for that reason, that's fine. But it's very important, considering that at the end of the day, he's still the biggest name fighter at heavyweight. He's the biggest money generator, so he's the big guy, right? So what that said, the only reason that he should step aside, and the only thing that will make sense for me, if it's done by his stipulations. In other words, if it's advantageous for him, not just financially, but career-wise.
Right.
And if he does it that way, then it makes sense. He needs his guarantee that he's going to get the fight whenever he's ready for the fight. He's going to get that fight. It's got to be a guarantee that they don't fucking sit there and prolong this shit and end up having 2 or 3 fucking rematches between those two, and they keep him iced out, right?
Yeah.
And during that time, he's going to have to do something to stay busy. He's going to have to stay busy fights. What if he gets hurt in those fights? What if he loses in those fights again? There's many different things that could possibly happen.
Yeah,
he's not just going to sit there and just wait and sit on his hands while these guys, continue to fight over and over again and have rematches. So it's very important that if he does decide to step aside, all the stipulations in the contract and everything needs to be advantageous for him and the betterment of his career. If it doesn't, then he's a fucking fool.
Yeah,
because he's the big guy. He's the big name. Usyk and Fury put together are not as big. Like, I don't live in the UK, but from what I'm hearing from what EJ and a couple other guys and a couple other people from the UK, also the beautiful lady Chan and others, they all look. AJ seems to be the man. Still, he seems to be the man in the UK. So if that's the case, don't concede that. Don't give up your juice, and don't make a mistake that you're going to regret for a very long time when you look back and reflect on your career.
Yeah.
And, right.
Yeah,
so that's my angle. That's where I'm coming from.
Hey, I cannot contend with that, bro. You said it perfectly. So yeah, if he steps aside, he's got to do it on his stipulations. They have to be met. Which I have a feeling that's what they're going to do right now. That's why it's called a negotiation. When you negotiate a step aside fee, when you talk about step aside fee, there is some form of negotiation involved when it comes to that fee. So yeah, good points there, C's. Good points there. I can't disagree. I couldn't agree with you more on that one, I should say. But Lisa, you want to say something? Closing argument? Wrap up?
Yeah. However, if he chooses, it's on him. It's not my career. It's still heavyweight, undisputed fight. I wouldn't do Fury any favors, me personally.
Yeah. I hear you on that
the
one.
The way he trolls him, and Bob Arum, the way they talk down, you know what I mean? So I wouldn't do him any favors, but that's just me. But he has to do what's best for his career, because Usyk is a live dog.
Yeah.
He is highly skilled. So Usyk is not nothing to, you got to be on your A+ game with him.
Yeah, you do. You definitely got to be on your end game. But I will say this to the Fury fanatics that keep coming in here. I got to say this to them really quickly. Look, the Fury fanatics. Look, Tyson Fury is not invincible, guys. You can say what you want about Tyson Fury. He's going to do this and do that to Usyk. Mind you, Alexander Usyk is not Deontay Wilder. Get that out of your head. He's not Vladimir Klitschko either. Oh, by the way, Alexander Usyk bashed up Vladimir Klitschko so many times in sparring to the point that Vladimir even kicked him out of their sparring sessions one time, in case you guys don't know. So I tell you,
I heard about that. Yeah,
I tell this to the Fury fanatics: do not underestimate Alexander Usyk. You saw what happened in that Joshua fight. Do not do it. because he could come out there. He's going to humiliate Fury just the same way like he did Joshua. Even worse. He probably do it even worse, given that Fury's sloppy sometimes. So I'm just letting you know right now. Don't do it. This
All
is
right,
not a
Dan.
full-time.
All right,
Yeah.
Dan, Lisa, salute both of you guys and
All right.
everyone else who's on the panel. I
Salute,
appreciate you having me on.
guys. It was
All
a
right.
I made my points.
live.
I'm gonna go. All right,
All right,
Dan.
guys.
Thanks for
Yeah.
having me on.
All right, guys.
All right, Lisa.
Thank you
Take
for
care,
having me,
Queen.
Dan. Always an honor and a privilege.
As always. All right.
And a pleasure. Have
As
a blessed
always,
night,
sister.
everyone.
You too. Take care. Always a pleasure. You
All
always
right.
welcome to come
Take
back
care.
on. All right.
Thank you. Thank you so much. God bless.
Anytime. God bless. Peace.
Peace.
All right. Peace. All right. Peace out to Haplotype and peace out to EJ Boxing Live. Peace out to Mark on Rival Boxing Talk. Who else? Black Seas. All that came in, check them out. There's some good peoples here. And shout out to a lot of commenters in the chat, man. Shout out to Hamed. Shout out to Tony Reviews, Actual Facts, DGO, Lady Chan. Shout out to Lady Chan. I know we had a spirited debate, but hey, it was respectful. No disrespect. But hey, Lady Chan, shout out to you. You're always welcome to come on to my channel and my live stream. We can always chop it up. So shout out to you, sister. Votes UK, shout out to you, man. I know I saw your comment in here. Who AJ fight? Dillon rematch? I mean, I don't know. That could be logical, but we'll have to wait and see. As things further develops. Let's see who else we got here. Mala, shout out to Mala. Shout out to Blood Boxing. Shout out to Blood, BG London. Lathal, the new commentary here. Who else I'm missing here? The Boxing Lounge, whatnot. So all you guys, thanks for coming in. I'm going to end this real out. So Lady Chan, anytime when I come on live stream, I'll make sure you get on so we can chop it up. All right, you're always welcome to come on. All right. So other than that, we'll have to see, with the Usyk thing. With the Joshua situation with the Usyk step aside of Fury. We'll see what other information develops in the coming weeks. Other than that, we'll pay attention to that very closely. Other than that, I keep saying other than that so many times. Yikes. So with that said, there you go. With that said, I am out. Peace.